Having the appointed time of 5:30 arrived, I would like to call the Tuesday, March 31st, 2026 Committee of the Whole to order. Would you please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, would you please take the roll?
Alderman Cox.
Here.
Alderman Gregory.
Here.
Alderman Williams. Alderman Rockford.
Here.
Alderwoman Purchase.
Here.
Alderwoman Detriano.
Here.
Alderman Carlson.
Here.
Alderwoman Conley.
Present.
Alderman Donlin.
Here.
Alderman Hanauer. Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum.
Thank you. I would accept a motion for the approval of the March 10th, 2026 Committee of the Whole meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion on those minutes? All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. No presentations? No presentations, all right. Next, we have the ordinance table the remaining in committee. Mr. Clerk?
Jeff. Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Oh, I apologize. Alderman Carlson.
Sorry. If you indulge me for a second.
Sure.
I think I'd like to call Doug Brown up. Today is his last day
Sure.
at CWLP, 31 years of service. To me, some strong and steady leadership. Doug, if you want to say a few words, but on behalf of me, I congratulate you in your service. So,
Thank you. I just want to say that, working for the city for 31 years has been really a privilege. Our employees have been top-notch the whole time, and I really couldn't have done, the everything that we've accomplished through those years without my coworkers, the employees, the staff. It's been an incredible journey, and I'm definitely going to miss, everyone. And I actually, thank you for the city council for the support for the utility through the years and for the city, and I'm going to keep my expectations up for everybody to keep moving the utility forward. So, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
thank you for everything.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Okay, I'm sorry.
Ready?
Mr. Clerk? Yes, sir.
Ordinances and resolutions tabled 2026-078.
On the one for the police commission, I will say that we do look to pull that out and make some movement along with the rest of that commission. Thank you.
All set?
Yes, sir.
Ordinances for committee consideration. 2026-117, an ordinance authorizing a one-year contract extension under the contract number UW 260934, contract for work for shoreline stabilization, riprap, with no additional funding authorization with G&H Marine for all sections of said contract for the Office of Public Utilities.
Move for consent. Second.
It's been moved and seconded for consent. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it.
2026-118 is an ordinance accepting, authorizing an agreement with Simon's Industries for the procurement of a compact modular reclosures, CMR, for the amount not to exceed $67,034 for the Office of Public Utilities.
Move to consent.
It's been moved and seconded for consent. Any discussion on this matter? Seeing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it.
2026-119 is an ordinance accepting authorization and agreement with G&W Electric Company for procurement of Viper Street reclosers in the amount not to exceed $175,580 for the Office of Public Utilities.
Move consent.
It's been moved and seconded for consent. Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it.
2026-120 is an ordinance accepting bids and authorizing contract UE 26-12-53 relative accuracy test audits for SIMS with Modestate Platt Associates LLC in the amount not to exceed $254,940 for the Office of Public Utilities.
Move to consent. Second.
It's been moved and seconded for consent. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it.
2026-121 is an ordinance authorizing Addendum 1 to the professional services agreement with Larry Teberg for assistance with computer aspects of the ERP upgrade and the training within the utilities Information Systems Division, and authorizing additional funding not to exceed $55,000 for the Office of Public Utilities.
Consent.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded for consent. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor? Ayes have it.
Public Works, 2026-122 is an ordinance authorizing execution of a professional services agreement with Highland Software, Inc. for the use of Highland Cloud and hosting platform for on-base electronic plan review and document management system for June 1, 2026 through May 31, 2027, the amount not to exceed $131,918 for the Office of Public Utilities.
Move consent.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded for consent. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it.
2026-123 is an ordinance authorizing acceptance of the right-of-way from Marketplace Drive located at east side of Marketplace Drive and the north side of Walnut Drive for the Office of Public Works.
Move consent.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded for consent. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it.
2026-124 is an ordinance accepting authorizing a one-year extension under RFP PW 25-55 with E.L. Pruitt and Company, Petersburg Plumbing and Excavating LLC, and P.H. Broughton and Sons, Inc. for the cave-in repairs in the amount not to exceed $1,550,000 for the Office of Public Works.
Move for consent.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded for consent. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it.
2026-125 is an ordinance accepting lowest responsible bids and authorizing execution of contract number PW 260262 with P.H. Broughton and Sons, Truman L. Flatt and Sons and Company, and Group Materials, Inc. for the FY 27 maintenance materials for the amount not to exceed $807,694.50.
Move for consent.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded for consent. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it.
General City Business, 2026-126, an ordinance to decrease the number of Class D liquor licenses by one due to the closure of business of El Aurelio Mexican Restaurant LLC, DBA El Aurelio, located at 4233 West Wabash.
Move for consent.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded for consent. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I would like to make a motion to have for an omnibus vote for agenda items number 2026-127 through 133.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded for an omnibus vote from 127 to 133. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Ready? 2026-127 is an ordinance to decrease the number of Class D liquor licenses by one due to the closure of business Sea Cove LLC, Jazzblah, located at 3114 South 6th. 2026-128 is an ordinance to decrease the number of Class D liquor licenses by one due to the closure of Big Dick Saloon, Inc., DBA Top Cats Chill and Grill, located at 3211 East Sangamon Avenue. 2026-129 is an ordinance to decrease the number of Class B liquor licenses by one due to the closure of business by Newman's Food, Inc., DBA Save-A-Lot, number 495, located at 2520 East Clear Lake Drive. 2026-130 is an ordinance to decrease the number of Class C liquor licenses by one for one Freedom Oil Company, DBA Freedom Oil Company, located at 3975 Dirksen Parkway. 2026-131 is an ordinance to decrease the number of Class E liquor licenses by one for the Springfield Airport Authority, DBA Abraham Lincoln Capital Airport, located at 1200 Capitol Airport Drive. 2026-132 is an ordinance to decrease the number of Class AA liquor licenses by one due to the closure of business by Buzz Bomb Brewing Company, DBA Buzz Bomb Brewing Company, located at 406 East Adams. 2026-133 is an ordinance to decrease the number of Class A liquor licenses by one due to the closure of business Savacon DBA Savacon at 4117 West Wabash Drive.
Move for consent.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded for consent. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it.
2026-134 is an ordinance authorizing payment to Jacob Wida, current city employee of Springfield police officer for the settlement workers' compensation claim 25WC-015845 in the amount not to exceed $16,865.46.
Move consent.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded for consent. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it.
2026-135 is an ordinance authorizing payment to Michael West, a City of Springfield Water Department employee, for settlement workers' compensation claim number 25 WC 032030 in the amount not to exceed $88,760.88.
Move consent. Second.
It's been moved and seconded for consent. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it.
2026-136 is an ordinance to amend Chapter 177, Section 17.05 to the 1988 City Code of Ordinances as amended pertaining to placing of receptacles for collection.
Motion for consent.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded for consent. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it.
2026-137 is an ordinance approving a 10-4-year agreement between the City of Springfield and the Office of Public Works and the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, Local 3738, from August 1, 2025 through July 31, 2029.
Move consent.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded for consent. All in favor?
Aye.
2026-138 is an ordinance authorizing execution of agreement between the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity to execute a supplemental appropriate Route 66 grant number 26-336008 agreement beginning July 1, 2025 through June 30, 2026 for the amount not to exceed $200,000 for the Office of Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Motion for debate.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded for debate. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it.
2026-139 is an ordinance amending ordinance 391-10-25 for additional commercial casualty insurance with Arthur J. Gallagher Risk Management Services, Inc., for the additional expenditure of $138,000 and a total amount not to exceed $337,947 for the Office of Budget and Management.
Move for consent.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded for consent. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it.
2026-140 is an ordinance accepting and authorizing the contract 21-41 SP-29479 with Morrow Brothers Ford, Inc. for the purchase of delivery of 4 2026 Ford Ranger Crew Cab trucks and all necessary equipment and for an amount not to exceed $158,846 after a trade-in of 2 end-of-life vehicles for the Springfield Fire Department.
Move for consent. Second.
Been moved and seconded for consent. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it.
2026-141 is an ordinance approving a payment to Harold O'Shea Builders for emergency work performed at Fire Station Number 12 in the amount not to exceed $50,468 for the Springfield Fire Department.
Move for consent. Second.
It's been moved and seconded for the consent agenda. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it.
2026-142 is an ordinance amending ordinance number 195-05-24 and authorizing an additional payment of $106,101.90 for the total amount not to exceed $410,030.40 for the FY 2027 Lion Group, Inc. for the purchase of 30 set of rig gear for the Springfield Fire Department.
For consent. Second.
It's been moved and seconded for consent. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it.
2026-143 is an ordinance authorizing payment to Cellubrite, Inc. for the amount of $73,521 for the INSEAD's digital forensic extraction systems from March 15, 2026 through March 14, 2027 for the Springfield Police Department.
Motion for debate.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded for the debate. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it.
2026-144 is an ordinance authorizing payment to Tyler Technologies, Inc. for $79,376.05 for the annual maintenance fee for e-crash and e-citation reporting systems for the FY 2027 from March 1, 2026 through February 28, 2027 for the Springfield Police Department.
Move for consent.
Second.
Been moved and seconded for the consent agenda. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it. Now it is time for unfinished business. Anyone have unfinished business? I will bring up just one quick matter. Today, Miss Amy, is the end of the enrollment for the cannabis grants. Am I correct in that? Okay. We had quite, some time with the website and things, and I'm sure your office is taking that under consideration. the one thing, and we could talk further, but I just want to say, the one thing that has come to me that I think is really, really important is the interior-exterior portion. The ordinance is owner-occupied rehabilitation, which is very broad, and it should cover those things. I know on the website itself, it didn't give them the ability to do that. And, for those applicants, I hope that we can be considerate of those needs if they're there. Thank you, I appreciate it. Anyone else with unfinished business? Any new business? Any new business? All right, seeing no new business. Oh, let the record reflect Alderman Williams Jr. is in the house. Do I got to vote him in or anything, Murdoch? Do I got to vote him in or anything? We got to do anything with that?
No,
All right.
no, you're
All right.
okay.
Just want to make sure. Alderman Carson.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to mention, we all were invited today to a press conference over at the BOS Center, and I think what it is, it's ultimately going to be the expansion of the Bank of Springfield Center that I think is going to put a lot of new life and some vibrant activity in downtown Springfield. But mostly, I think what I saw today was really bipartisan support, led by our own State Senator Doris Turner, along with Mike Coffey, who have been working on this for a couple of years, along with County Board Chairman Andy Van Meter, and of course Mayor Misty Busher was there as well. But it's exciting that when you have business and labor put partisanship aside, I think it's going to pay dividends. I think we all want a vibrant downtown, and I think this is the first step, Chairman, towards rehabilitating downtown and getting it back to where I think it should be. I mean, we are the capital city, and there's a lot of great things going on around the city. Obviously, downtown as well. I think this is one great step towards it. So I want everybody to keep an open mind as we go through this process. So thank you, Chairman.
No problem. Thank you, sir. Alderman Williams.
Yes, thank you, and excuse my lateness. I have heard about the press conference. I didn't see it, but I did review it, like on social media. And what I'll say to that is it's not a good thing for the city. It creates another taxing body. And in Illinois, especially Springfield, we have at least 12 taxing bodies right now. We're our own taxing body. So we, the city council, should be the authority for that, what they're trying to do, and for that board. Now, they're creating a board, giving us one seat. And I don't want to do this public health thing all over again and all that. This is our downtown. I don't know if the two downtown aldermen been informed or not, or were involved in this collaboration that you're calling it, nonpartisan, and all that is fine. It's well known that Republicans have always wanted a metro government. I'm concerned, Mayor, about their footprint constantly growing. I grew up with everything being Springfield Recreation, Springfield Park, Springfield. Now, we don't even have Springfield Mass Transit. It's Sangamon County Mass Transit. And what I would say to the citizens listening and to the people, read the bill. Read the bill. But if we are our own taxing body and we can do this ourselves, they're trying to paint it like anybody against this is just anti, wanting to collaborate and be at charge. No, we have to take care of our downtown and keep our own authority over our own downtown. So I advise you all, every group, to take the time to read Senator Turner's bill and look at it. If anything, the Boss Center and the expansion, I'm for it. But I'm not for it if the county's going to run it. So we get one seat and SMEAA gets one seat and the other 3 go to the county. Are you kidding me? This is our downtown. The taxes that they want to use are heavy in my ward when it comes to the motel, hotel tax, and if they can't do it alone. So this is why they need to tap into some kind of funding source. If I don't have my facts straight, I'm willing to be corrected. But to me, if we want to be a strong Springfield, we keep it, we become the authority, we have the 3 seats and give them 1 seat because it's our downtown.
It is.
And we need to learn to start acting like it's our downtown and not let them play into Alderman Carlson and whatever the county board wants to do. It may look partisan. I'm going to tell the senator this. I'm not being partisan. I'm for the expansion of a ball center, not just this way. And I don't believe everybody was collaborated with and involved with the decision-making the way it was painted at this city council. So if I seem angry, I am concerned and deeply angry. I've always thought when I got on this council that our ball center should be under Director Scott Dow. I mean, that's the kind of sense I see these things in. But instead, we play these political games with the county. They need a way to fund it, guys. They need money. And this state senator that I'm probably going to get into it with and have a hard discussion with is sponsoring this, and coffee as well. So I'm not going to say I'm against it. I'm just saying we have to be the city council and be the authority over it, or else we'll be in that same boat we're in when it comes to other Sangamon County type things like the health board. We ain't got no representation. No, we don't want anybody from the city council on it. We don't, our animal control, same thing. Everything that goes county ain't always good for the city. Stand up and be all the men and all the women we're supposed to be by first reading it, because I'm coming with a resolution. And this resolution is going to say that we are the authority. We are the taxing body already. Why are we creating a new district and overtaxing the citizens? So please take the time to read it and get involved with this, and let's try to understand this. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, I will bypass the speaker at the end, Alderman Rockford.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. And again, I'm all for revitalizing downtown, but what are we going to do with the eyesore that's sitting there right now, all boarded up? You know, we're talking about expanding and building new hotels, but what are we just going to pretend it's not there? You know, so again, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. But what are we going to do with the hotel that's standing there doing nothing for us? So again, thinking it's a long road to try to this expansion to happen, but it's do something with that Wyndham. Thank you.
Alderwoman Purchase.
Thank you, Chair. Well, thank you, Alderman Rockford. I'm definitely trying to do something with it. And I'm requesting, just for those reasons that you brought up, to ask what is going on as far as the Wyndham. And then secondly, too, I agree with Alderman Williams. My mind is somewhere else as we're coming up on another conversation tonight, so I'm not that engaged into this subject, but it is a little concerning that it's the city, it's downtown, and the county has 3 seats and we have 1 seat. That's not sitting well with me, so I'm waiting to ask those questions when we all can get together as a caucus and meet with Senator Turner. But obviously, we know that's my backyard, so I'm all for revitalizing, but understanding the steps that is being taken to move forward and being a part of those conversations every step of the way. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Carlson.
I know nothing about it. Just to answer Alderman Williams, I agree with you. I wish we could do it all ourselves, but we just can't, the money. So what this does, and what Senator Turner said, this is no new taxes. This can be paid for by the hotel motel tax, as well as revenues that once this building is built. I mean, I don't necessarily need to go into all details now, but that's what was communicated to us today by the senator. So it's no new taxes on the residents of Springfield.
Okay.
Thank you. Alderman Donlin.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair, and I appreciate the conversation on this. I was unable to make the press conference due to some work obligations today, but I got to share with you all, a few years ago, my son now is 27, so it's been a while ago, he was transferring from University of Missouri to Illinois State University, decided he wanted to come in state. And we went down to Uptown Normal, and we walked around, and we toured, we're looking for a place for him to live, and we went to Uptown Normal and saw the new multimodal facility. We saw the new hotel. We saw the revitalization of the Uptown Normal. And, we found an apartment. Anyway, that was on a Friday. So fast forward Sunday, we were downtown, just happened to be downtown. and we had breakfast, and couldn't tell you where now, probably Moxo, but it's a whole other story. But we're walking to the car, and he said this to me. He said, "Dad, why can't we be like Normal?" He meant Normal, Illinois. I go, "What do you mean?" And then he started describing this is a 20-some-year-old kid, what he saw. And I've thought long and hard about it, and I've been involved in a lot of discussions and efforts, and we all know that the momentum that and you got to have momentum, the momentum that we had, and a lot of you in this room were involved with it, on Adams Street. You know, we had a terrible tragedy. We know what it was, the fire. It hurt that momentum. But I can't thank Senator Turner, Representative Coffey, and anyone else that was involved, and I was not, in this development of this legislation, for trying something new and trying to get something kick-started, trying to get some actual momentum. And Alderman, I know you'll reach out to the senator and you'll have those conversations about your concerns, but something's got to be done differently because it's just not working right now. And I just appreciate the efforts. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Alderwoman Notriano?
Thank you, Chair. I appreciate you bringing that up, Alderman Donlin. And I want to tell you, the reason that the city of Springfield can't be like Normal is because Normal had a master plan for economic development, and they had several mini sub-plans to develop different blocks and different, whether it be different types of services and different sectors of the economy. And this is actually a case in point for why we can't be like Normal. Because where's the plan around this? Other than the standalone plan that's been presented to us. There's not even been an attempt to touch the master plan that folks in this community only a year or so ago had worked really hard to put together. And granted, it was not a full, clear, detailed plan. It was a broad outline of a vision of what people in Springfield want from their downtown. Why has it gone nowhere? Why don't we care what the people got together? They met up at different places downtown, talked to each other, and put their ideas on paper. Why doesn't this administration? Why don't we care what they said? And until we have a plan that incorporates this and shows that it's going to, you're right, Alderman Williams, be controlled by the city, and B, incorporated with the development of the rest of downtown, which, like Alderman Rockford said, contains rehabilitating and doing something with the Wyndham. Why are we trying to move forward on something else? Why are we putting the cart in front of the horse? Like, if it's like writing an essay. You can't sit down and put your thoughts on paper until you have an outline. You got to know where you're going. That master plan was the city's outline. Why aren't we looking at it? Why aren't we doing anything with it? So, yes, thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Williams?
Yes, I didn't hear them address the board. So you guys like it? You think it's great? Then fix it. So what we need to do is make sure that bill is amended. Please read the bill to understand what's going on here. Again, this is Springfield's downtown, not Sangamon County's. The alderman knows that that board is going to be an authority. Every project, that's them. The approvals go through Sangamon County, not the city. Let's not make these mistakes again. And let's be clear with the citizens that we need to stand up to this mayor and to our state senator, if we have to, that we're not having it. We're going to control, and all those decisions are going to come through us. 60% of the hotels, motels, are in the city. Who do they think they're fooling? Read the bill to say how it's funded. Don't trust me. Don't trust Alderman Carlson. Read it for yourself. It'll tell you the makeup of the board. It'll tell you what they're proposing to solve it. About this wanting to be like normal and all these things, they've already always have acted and behaved better than us. They wouldn't have let a building like the Hilton or Farm 30, whatever we want to call it, Wyndham, closed down with a difference of 25 rooms, and now we have none. Some of you guys voted. No, we don't want to see it rehab. We don't want to see it turned into apartments. We had a developer from Houston. We had a developer from New York. They were willing to do some of these things. Where was thinking out of the socks and doing something then, Alderman Donlin? That's when we should have done something. We should have took one or more, and this building would never be boarded up the way it is today. So I'm lighting the fire saying it's time to stand up and we do what we're supposed to do as the elected representatives of the citizens from Springfield. The county got their own representative and their own problems and their own legislation. They are now trying to ride us, and this mayor is allowing it. I'm really upset with her for standing, and I'm upset with the senator as well, because I feel like the city council was left out of the discussions. And we shouldn't have been. It's just right across the street there. It ain't like this is somewhere out in the county. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Is there anyone new? All right. So I will say that.
Hold on, Sean.
Sure. Alderman Donlin. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair, and I'll be brief. Alderman Williams, just to respond, since you mentioned my name, the events that happen at the Wyndham are mutually exclusive. We have an incident that we all know the building's been sabotaged. It's been well publicized. That's a separate incident. What was being proposed before was the developer wanted to turn the entire building, and what came before us, all of the units into apartments, which would have eliminated we know, it's all very obvious, eliminated a very critical service, hotel rooms in the downtown. Now, for different reasons, not because that proposal was rejected, but because someone didn't act the way they should, and I don't know all the details. I don't know if anybody but law enforcement do, but it just doesn't sound pretty what happened there. They're mutually exclusive. We all know we want, whether it's the Hilton, I can still call it the Hilton Wyndham, a new hotel, combination thereof. We want to see downtown thrive. I don't think we're not arguing here, but I just wanted to point out that since you mentioned my name, that was a separate entity. They wanted to turn it all into apartments, and we raised a ruckus about it. So that's all I have, Mr. Chair. I apologize for speaking again.
Well,
I got you.
I got you. So I'll say, and I appreciate the discussion. The window was a big thing, was a big vote. He did come with 2 and 2, I think it was. It was about to be even. He was already approved for 200 rooms. It was 300. So we work with them, former mayor. We worked with him to get him down to 25 rooms. When he came, he obviously was upset because he had flew in from Texas, and we held it. So he was upset, and he had a little attitude out here, and Alderwoman Purchase definitely didn't take that lightly, and in the end, the Wyndham sits. We were concerned about rooms, and that was adjusted. It was started high, and it did come down to about 25 rooms or so. It was manageable. Now we have nothing, but that's nor here or there. This particular bill, and I thank my colleague. I thank my Black Caucus colleague, because as I was trying to think on History Across the Tracks and how we fund it, I was watching TV. I seen Governor Pritzker talk about Star Bonds. Star Bonds has been around since 2010. Representative Jay Hoffman re-energized it in 2024, and it is a funding mechanism that's fueled by sales tax. The state language has in there things like 50% must cover and serve the underserved communities. Sales tax incentives, up to 50% of the sales tax in any particular project. So as I was going through this, I had some meetings. I did what I was supposed to do. I called and sent emails about this particular bond. And my colleague, he said, Sean, be careful with the Star Bonds, because they have a bill at the State House that would essentially give the county control over the very Star Bond that you're drawing. So we went back and forth. I'm like, no, Roy, and we had a good conversation. But my colleague was absolutely correct. This board, and I pulled, the language. The authority is created as its own unit of government. That language there is its own governing body, independent from the city. But as my colleague mentioned, 3 members shall be appointed by the Sangamon County Board, 1 by us, 1 by SMEA. But what's really troubling in this bill is once conditions are met, the authority shall possess all powers of a body, public or municipal corporation, necessary and convenient to accomplish the purpose of this act, including establishing star bond district and issuing star bonds, entering into loans, contracts, acquiring, owning, leasing property, adopting all ordinances, resolutions, bylaws, and rules. What's that saying? These are expansive governmental powers, including fiscal and land-related authority. Critically, the list of powers do not contain any requirement that the city of Springfield must approve of these actions. So essentially, that board is going to enable a whole nother board appointed by somebody else other than us that's going to control not only the hotel motel tax that if they act on this, they have to raise 1%. It's at 8, it'll go to 9. Am I lying? Am I lying? Okay. It goes to 9%. Then the sales tax has to kick in to pay for this project, which is ours. That's in the city of Springfield. Most of the hotel motel tax, it's in the city of Springfield. So nobody's against BOS expansion. But all projects for that, all decisions for that should be made by this city council. Any intergovernmental agreement to make that happen should be approved by the city council. We understand, nobody's, crazy. We understand the county owns that lot. That's a payday for them. They're either going to get paid per parking spot or the whole thing. So that's why they're interested, and that's why they're involved. Of course, the MIA board needs to be involved because they run the BOS center. But our taxes, our funding, our things like that come into the city house, we should have a home rule authority. We should have our authority over those things to make those decisions. Nobody should make those for us. We already have that, as my colleague said. With public health, even the and I voted for it, but even the 708 Mental Health Board, $14 million controlled by somebody the county's going to appoint. My community already get the short stick from the county and the city, but so to keep going down that road is very troubling. The minority makeup of the county board is well outnumbered, and those things concern us, and those things have to be addressed and have to make sure that we have some minority representation, we have some representation, and the only way we get that, it's almost walking us around the voting rights consent decree. It's almost diluting my power to represent my constituents with funding that comes into the city. So it's something that we as a community are going to have to look into from a not only automatic standpoint, but even a class action settlement, because it is diluting. And I'm the majority ward, the one that sued to get here, and that lawsuit is not only voting rights power, but also my ability to have influence on funding that's supposed to go into our community, and that dilutes this very seat's representation power. So that's my take on it. Absolutely I've already have conversations with the senator. She is well aware that we are in opposition of this. I do intend to support my brother as well as my sister on the Black Caucus to produce some language to present to the senator to ensure that the city keeps control over its funds and things that happen within its boundaries. And that's only fair and that's only right, and we can make those decisions and keep working. Thank you. Any others?
Yes.
Alderman Williams.
Yes, thank you. The other thing, I think, why I keep saying read the bill has a map in it. And when I look at that map going from North Grand, I believe South Grand, to Walnut, and when you finish, that's just one project, that parking lot, that expansion, that's just one project. The legislation says projects within the zone, and within the map, this authority gets to do. Do you guys realize that we have no say on any other project they decide to do from here all the way to Walnut Street? That's our downtown. From North Grand all the way to South Grand, we have to take a serious look and get serious about this. And if they want to do it, fine, but we have to be in the driver's seat as the city council, or else they just diluted a whole lot of power. We can't keep acting silly about this. We have to get serious and stand up for your constituents in your ward, because they're not out in the county. They're in Springfield. We already give our jobs away. We do so much county-oriented stuff here. I just don't get it. Why half of you guys even want to be here if you're so intentional about wanting to support everything that the county brings to you? How about supporting some things for the city? And let's get that done. We are the ones that blew the Wyndham deal. It is not exclusive. I will tell you this, though. What came first? The two developers who tried to fix the Wyndham came first. Then later, the flood happened and all these other things. So still, what the alderman is talking about doesn't make sense to me, because he had the opportunity, not once, but twice. We, as the city council, could have approved one of those deals. And we wouldn't have been shuttling and doing the stuff we're doing now. Maybe the flood would have still happened, maybe it wouldn't. Sabotage, I believe the jury's still out on it. I believe they're still in court. No, we just know it happened, but we don't know why yet. The courts have to tell us why. So let's not be not serious about that either, because it is what it is. But right now, we have an opportunity to get ahead of this. I always criticize my colleague here and said, how could y'all let that happen? Well, I'm trying not to let this happen. Not without them switching it around and putting the power where the power is supposed to be, which is not the county board. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any other new business? Alderman Carlson.
Just to address that.
Sure.
We all are represented by a county board member. We all have a county board member that we talk with. Thank you, Chair.
But most of the citizens in is.
No, I know,
in,
but I just wanted,
cool.
just for the record, we all have a county board member.
Yes, sir. Yes, I have a few, 3. All right, I appreciate you. The live stream. Okay, thank you very much. I do believe our clerk's
probably
office
was
is
told
working. They're
to
working on it. I got. I'm sorry.
You ready?
Yes, sir. First, before we call our speakers up, clerk, I just want to acknowledge that when the video first came out, I was tagged several times. We were tagged several times in that video, and it was very troubling, right? As a father of 3 young ladies, you hate to see that. You hate to see that in any way. I know that we supported many things in training to prevent those actions, even while there is some measure of the law that gives policing that ability. I feel, and I know my caucus feels, that there are better ways to deal with that situation. And so, I've been thinking about since this thing has happened. What I'm gonna say, I made a little speech, but I can never read off those things. And when I think about community policing and what we continue to work for, and even while being opinionated on what things go. But when I think about community policing, I think about our police. They go into our schools, they work at our schools at very young ages, and we see them as some of our kids see them as heroes. And then we grow up, and then we have these interactions. And how do we go from that? How do we go from being these precious little kids that we are eager to go see, that we're eager to go in the schools and see, to having to arrest and having to take the action of that? And this is no secret of talking to Chief, and delivering these feelings as far as that I believe that many of our officers are better trained than that particular moment. I've seen it. I've seen big guys taken down. I've seen many situations where shootings could have taken place but didn't. So, and guess what? The law gives them that. So the Massey Commission, some of the recommendations we're going to look at, we're going to put those things in. But the things that have to change those are some things that we have to continue to work on. Those are some things that we're going to have to try to negotiate de-escalation-wise in a contract. We'll have an ask for the mayor. Those are some things that we have to work at the state level at to really change how use of force is looked at. Because often, in the end, use of force and policing, community policing, has to be comfortable for those who are going to be policed. Right, we talk about records and all of those things that the young lady had, and she could be not guilty for all of those things. Right, I'm a sitting alderman that has been through that. Right, who has been through charges and sitting here that I didn't do. So in that, even our father, he doesn't excuse anything that she was into. But how we handle that situation is very, very important. And we as chair of the caucus, we're going to look at that and other members on what we can do to put in more de-escalation measures and work with the mayor and negotiate with unions to get more things in. I know the chief has some things planned transparency-wise. I'll say this is not my first time speaking on a situation that has happened in our community. And it won't be the last. I have a lot of respect for the chief and Leach and some of the guys that I know, as well as some of our black officers that I do know. And all of them, I do not agree with that instance. Not at all, because we are better than that. We are better trained, we are better officers than that, and I just think that situation can be handled without striking the young lady, as an older cat. And that's just where I'm at with it. And I got a lot of emotions flowing through me, just like everybody else in this room. And what I've learned and continue to work on is that we must stay focused, because there's work to do after this. And we have to organize ourselves, and we have to really push for policies on policing that we want to see in our communities, and really push at the things that we do not want to see. And it's going to be a lot of work, and it's going to be a daily thing, and we work at it every day. And so I appreciate you. I'm going to let my colleagues speak as well. Alderwoman Purchase.
Thank you, Chair. I echo almost everything that
Oh, I'm sorry. I
Gregory
thought it was
said.
from last time.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Chair,
He was before you. I'm sorry.
I would like Chief to come up, if you would, please. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking he's...
I reported it.
I did miss the meeting, I'm sorry. I feel like your statement told me what you thought of the incident. But I have problems with the statement, and the only reason why I'm speaking now is because the way we operate up here, all these folks are going to tell you how they feel in 5 minutes, and no interaction, no back, nothing. So I need to ask things in a way where I have some ability of getting some back and forth. So in your statement, you say, Officer Walter followed his training and established policy in effecting this arrest. This is what the statement says. So did you see the video where he punched her?
Yes,
Is that your policy
it is. She,
and your training? It is? Did you say it is?
it is, correct, yes.
So it's they are trained to punch 18, 19-year-old female in the head when they're trying to arrest them.
When we have a defensive resistant subject who's resisting arrest, we can go up to an intermediate weapons, which is the level of force that we could use, which could be a taser, baton, or OC. He used a strike, which is hard empty hand control, which is one level below intermediate weapons.
Well, he used a strike, but he also choked. He also took the forearm and pushed it up against her throat. Did you see that?
I did not see that.
No, let him finish.
You didn't see that?
No, I saw a video that shows him pushing her arm across her chest to try to spin her onto her stomach.
I think you need to relook at that video. He's on her neck, in her
The entire time
throat
she's
area.
speaking and her jaw is moving, so she's not restricted her airway whatsoever.
Well, I mean, she's fighting him off, trying to get the thing off of her neck so that she can breathe. And I have a genuine disagreement with you on putting something out like this, that this is our establishment's training and this is our establishment policy. This is the way that we operate as police officers. It shouldn't be, because if it is true that's the way you train them, then you shouldn't be training them that way. I don't care what she did. I don't care about her history. I don't care about her history. I don't care about these charges, and she's innocent until proven guilty and they get her in court. She did what young people do. We get into it, the cops, we run. But nothing justifies getting hit in the head and choked and pressure against her throat like that, Chief. And what makes me mad is that from the top down, you guys just automatically bless it. Like it's okay, that's fine. We're perfect, we never do nothing wrong. That was wrong. And you guys need to learn to admit stuff. You need to learn to admit when you see something like that and call it wrong. Instead of calling it, this is how we train them and it's within our policy and training policy. Because it's not right. That is not right. That's horrible.
Catch his daughter and do it to her.
It's not right. And then I have to speak up now and act like this because we don't respect our citizens. We're going to let them come up one at a time, 5 minutes. Chair going to beat his thing and say 5 minutes, 5 minutes. And that's useless. We need to be serious about this sometime. And we need to take action and reforms of your department because this is not the first time that something like this happened. And I guess if she was dead, you probably say, oh, well, it was in the training and within our policy. We need to look at the policy. And I think it's wrong. That's why I don't attend these kind of meetings, because I already know he speaks through his media person when he releases something like this on the video, speaking on the video. So we are to believe that it accidentally got hit or turned off, the body camera. That's the position, correct?
That's absolutely what happened.
Can it be
yes.
proven?
I mean, you can look at the body-worn camera footage, and as it stops at the very end, you see an elbow placed against the body-worn camera, which the button's right below the camera.
Was
and
that
elbow
released?
is placed. Yes, on the video.
Did you see all that? Because every time we think we got an answer and the chair says, well, we're going to request the vice chair said, we're going to request the footage. And we're going to take a good look at it, and she's a good-hearted person. She says, well, we're going to meet. But then this comes out, and I'm like, I'm not meeting if they already got their mind made up that he's done nothing wrong on something so obvious that's wrong. I think the mayor and you should be held accountable if y'all believe that. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Alderwoman Purchase.
Thank you, Chair. So following up behind Alderman Williams. Can y'all hear me?
Tony gonna kill you.
Can you hear me now? Okay. I said, following up behind Alderman Williams, the first question I wanted to ask you, and I had to write my questions down, just as a female, the first thing I thought about was, how come a female officer wasn't called to the scene to handle a female? Now, wait, before,
I can't hear what you're saying, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, before you answer that, obviously, he was the officer to approach the situation, but when I see an officer sitting on top of a female, I think that it is restrained right there while he's calling for backup. And just learning the education, was there a message sent that we need a female officer to be out here? Because as you're arresting someone, as you're arresting a female, I'm for sure that we need to search them. So wouldn't it be a female officer to do that as well?
Yes, it would be a female officer to search a female if we had one available. That is protocol, that is policy. When he was trying to get her arms over to her, what would be her left side, his right, that's when he held the one arm, reached up and got onto his microphone for his radio in order to request backup. And he requested backup, emergency backup. He didn't request a particular officer. He just needed somebody there now, as there was 3 additional subjects walking up on him from his rear. But yes, to your point, once we are secure in an incident like that, we would request a female. And in that particular incident, we had a female meet the officer at the jail to do the search.
Okay, so I think too, Chief, me and you gonna we gonna agree to disagree, that I still think even before the officer took off with her because of that it should have been a female officer that should have came to the scene too as well. And I understand Alderman Williams' frustration too, because me and Alderman Gregory just met with you all right before this meeting and watched the full body camera footage from every angle and different officers. The optics just suck for you guys right now. For the cameras to turn off when an innocent bystander is driving by, and they can pick up what we should have picked up. So we could have saw it from your angle as an officer, what took place as well. Imagine if somebody didn't have that camera there.
Sure. I agree with you. I wish the camera worked the entire time. Unfortunately, we don't.
Guys.
Unfortunately, we don't do this in a static environment, so things are going to happen in a dynamic and rapidly evolving situation like that.
And I also want you to explain again, I heard a little bit of it when you were just talking to Alderman Williams, but even before council started, you all asked my opinion, and I said, as a female watching a male hit a female in the face with his fist, what was other ways of de-escalating to get her attention to comply with him?
Well, it's a situation where he's by himself in a confrontation with the female, right? And then she's requesting 3 additional people to stop, get out of the car, and help get him off of her. And so at that point, he decided to go from what we consider soft empty hand control to hard empty hand control, which is a strike. He could have tased her, but he didn't. And I'm glad he didn't, because that's another level of force up from hard empty hand control.
So I think.
Everybody, excuse me. Look, the only reason I'm hitting this and trying to keep everybody quiet so they can hear each other. That's it. Everybody's signed up to speak. We're gonna hear you. Hey, I hear you. I'm with you. But we got to be able to hear.
And I think this is important, you all, to hear with the questions that I'm asking, because as you know, too, again, when you come up and you speak, we're not going to speak back, and there's not going to be engaging back and forth. So I want you all to also be educated as I'm being educated on how things work, too, moving forward, and what we can do to help build this relationship back up, because right now I could tell you it's just really off left. I think that there's going to be some community conversations, and this is no surprise. I said it to you, and I said it to Assistant Chief Leach, that at this point, I feel like it's our job to bring some meetings forward to, I don't know if you all remember when they said when you get pulled over, you put your hands on the steering wheel and you don't move. You have to just basically not do anything for some of these areas to be justified. So I think I want to get to my last point with you, is just for educational purposes too. Can we clearly define what is considered like the lowest level necessary for this situation that just took place.
The lowest level?
Yes, so we saw the video where his arm was across her throat, but as you indicated, it was because he was trying to restrain her and get her arms behind her back. What is some of the other areas that you felt could have been de-escalating for this particular situation?
Well, I don't know how you de-escalate when you got 3 additional people coming up to and get involved in the situation. She was a defensive, resistant person.
But they didn't do
With-
anything, Chief.
Correct. Thankfully, they didn't. Yes. You can use, it's a 1+1 theory, which is in our policy, right? Which means if she's a defensive, resistant person, we can go to intermediate weapons. So we could have tased her from the get-go or used OC spray or a baton. Now, that, we started 2 levels below that with soft empty hand control. Soft empty hand control is defined as wrist locks, joint manipulations, pressure points, things of that nature. 1 level up from that is hard empty hand control, and that is defined as strikes, whether it's with a fist, whether it's a knee strike, a kick, something like that. So he started at soft empty hand control and then needed to get her into custody as the people were walking up, used hard empty hand control, and then went back down to soft empty hand control once she was on her stomach and he had her hands behind her back.
And my final statement and question is, how do we help educate? And I'm being real careful because obviously we saw what happened when I just brought up a normal situation, a request for a video, the people that attack and call you out your name. How do we move forward in order for our community, and I'm speaking specifically for the Black community? How do we move forward to be educated on what is you all's role and what is our role? And it's common sense to know we're not supposed to fight back with the police. We're not supposed to run from the police. But again, she was being restrained. She was going to be arrested. This just is not sitting well. And the optics of it is not, there's no explanation for it. And how do you move forward from that with the community?
Well, I think we can have some conversations about, the law and you. It's something that we've done in the past with the Frontiers and some other additional groups in the city. I think there's an opportunity for us to put together a program to get into maybe the school district through the driver's education classes. And as these folks are learning to drive, have a conversation about, what this looks like with the police. That's been suggested from many community groups. And matter of fact, just recently, in the last couple of days, there was a suggestion to me from a local community group is, hey, this would be a good idea and an opportunity, or get into the schools and just generally have a conversation about what does this look like when interacting with the police.
Okay, Chair, just one last thing. Sure. I wouldn't say that our caucus has been taking our time to approach this situation, and it just sucks that timing is of essence now. So you've had people come up here weekly to talk about, help me out, the police reform.
Police Review Commission.
The Police Review Commission, having those steps put in place so that we can have those mechanisms for accountability, transparency, and just equal fair treatment. So I think now is the time to really move that forward, and we're going to take it upon ourselves. The 3 of us as the Springfield Automatic Black Caucus, we're going to request for you all to come, and we're going to do a meeting. We're going to do a meeting so that we can have open dialogue and have people in the room that we know everyone respects to be able to move forward, because people are tired of talking. And I want to say that we've been working with Sunshine from Black Lives Matter and had the first conversation with her when the situation just happened. And I think I sent Assistant Chief Leach the video at like 12 in the morning as it kept coming to our phones and kept coming to us in a group text message. We can't take these things lightly, and we have to take them very serious. And the Massey Commission put a lot of steps in place. I know we can't meet every step, but I want to see what's the low-hanging fruits of those steps that we can have some execution right away.
Sure.
So we're going to just be prepared, because we are going to put something together. And we want to have the community there, and we want to see those steps, and we want to have timelines. Sometimes my colleagues, they used to laugh when I just asked, what's the future forecast? What is those benchmarks? When can we expect these things? We want to have some dates in place this time. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Alderwoman Notriano.
Thank you, Chair. And Alderwoman Purchase, I look forward to seeing those suggestions and supporting that. So aside from my other questions, whenever you were answering Alderwoman Purchase's questions, you said something that set off my radar. You said that there were 3 subjects. Okay, so all of us saw those people as bystanders, members of the community. For you to call them subjects, like that right there is the seed, the root of the problem. So I'll just leave that there. And I have some questions. I watched the video, but didn't, I don't know if I fully understood. So from my vantage point, watching his dash cam video first, it looked like he was sitting and like sort of staking her out, waiting for her.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
He recognized her car and knew she had valid warrants.
Okay. Okay. And so, in that instance, would you say then he was going to try to bring her in for those warrants? Is that why he was pursuing her?
A warrant is from the court, and it's a direction from a judge to arrest somebody and bring them in front of the court. It's not a you may or you might, it's a you will. So yes, he was doing his job, proactive police work, seeking somebody with 4 or 5 felony warrants, including some misdemeanor warrants, to take them to court as advised by the court.
I'm sorry, what felony warrants? Are you talking about like the theft stuff?
There's some theft, there's some conspiracy warrants, she's also has some aggravated battery police officer charges as well. There's all kinds of, I don't remember all the charges exactly, but.
Okay. Okay, but Alderman Gregory did just say how charges go, right? But yes, okay. Thank you for that picture. Knowing that, or maybe he didn't know that, is it advisable? Do you suggest to your officers to go try to enforce a warrant on their own?
Yes, I want them to do proactive police work.
Yeah, that sounds like a bad idea. It's a bad idea. And I am a layperson, but I've just got to tell you, that is a recipe for disaster, especially when we're talking about someone who, from what I've seen, not a danger to the community. And if, the person is a danger to the community, then certainly you would want to send more than one officer to handle that situation. We're asking a lot of officers to have them go one-on-one with individuals to enforce those warrants. What motivates your desire for individual officers to go out one-on-one and try to bring in somebody in?
We're hired to provide public safety to this community, and they pay us well to do that. And you guys give us great equipment and great technology to do that. And there's an expectation that we do exactly that, which is our job.
Okay, yes, but also it's very important, like we've seen over the past several weeks, there have been a lot of payouts, right, to officers and members of the fire department, other departments, for getting injured in the line of work. I would have to think, I'm not a risk manager, but sending a single individual officer to get someone and bring them in feels very risky, like to that officer's health and safety, not to mention their mindset of being involved one-on-one with an individual and putting themselves in a volatile, unpredictable situation where there's no one there to have their back. Yeah, and I know I'm going to get hateful emails or someone standing up and screaming I'm an idiot for criticizing you, but I'm going to tell you, like, sending a single officer out to enforce a warrant is not right now. This is not the time. This is not the place. And I'm going to say that without apology. And lastly, this sort of ties into this entire situation because this was a 19-year-old girl. This was a young woman, a 19-year-old girl, let's say. I had asked, I believe last meeting or the meeting before, about an incident between resource officers and children at West Side Middle. Did you, oh, I'm sorry, Washington Middle, thank you. Were you able to look into that footage, and can you tell me anything more about that now?
Yeah, I can tell you that we reviewed the footage as much as we had in the police reports, and the officer was picking the woman. She was actually a mother of one of the children at the school that we saw, picking her up and helping her to stand her up to get her to a car, and she was resisting arrest and pulling away at that time. So he was pulling her by her arm. So yeah, that happened, but she was resisting.
Okay, so not a student?
Correct. Not the video footage that I saw. This is coming from body-worn camera
Sure.
footage, though.
Sure. And, man, I feel like I have to get into it. So we're enforcing a warrant outside of a middle school? Is that what we were doing?
A warrant outside of a middle school?
You said she had a warrant and he was taking her in?
No, I never said
the
that.
parent?
I said she was resisting.
Oh, okay.
There was a melee of about 40 or 50, maybe 60 people of not only children and adults, parents of the kids that the few officers were dealing with. So they were trying to deal with the situation in front of a crowd of people.
Okay. Sorry, misunderstood you there. All right. Yeah, I just have to go back to saying, in sending a single officer to pick somebody up, and high-speed chases for bank robbers and things of this nature, it feels like the department is taking on a lot of risk right now, and it's not necessary, it feels like. These aren't public safety concerns as a layperson would see it, right? Eventually, you'll get that person who robbed the bank.
So an armed robbery to a bank's not a public safety concern?
Eventually, you'll get that person. You have card readers all across the city. Like, you know where to find them. You know where they've gone. So a high-speed pursuit of them that endangers yet more people seems like an unnecessary extra risk. And like I said, trying to take in an individual person, go one-on-one over somebody for a warrant, just an unnecessary risk. And this could have gone much worse than it actually did. Really thankful that it didn't. I'm going to stop speaking now because there are a lot of people signed up to speak who I really respect and who have done a lot more work on this than I could ever dream of doing. And they're going to have some really good things to say and important messages for us as leaders and for you as the leader of the police department. I certainly hope you'll listen with an open mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderwoman. Alderman Williams, he was signed up. I skipped him. I apologize, Alderman Dolan.
Chief, I wanted to say, with all these, with all these incidents or situations, is the reason why it's not good to police yourself. I think these kind of things are when we needed to go to an independent commission who may come up with different conclusions than what you do when you police yourself. Now, I do realize that this is on the mayor because she doesn't feel the amount of people it takes to run the commission, but it's screaming out loud that our mayor of Springfield needs to appoint these people so that we can have a police review commission. It just shows you, right, all this different stuff. I don't think nothing's going to change. I don't think nothing's going to get better. It's not, the citizens are not going to be happy. You got to make them a part of it. You got to make them look at it and see if they come up with the same conclusions. Maybe they'll tell you your training and your policy ain't right. But we shouldn't be scared to hear that. We should be wanting to engage and work if we truly are doing community policing and building community relationships. This is what we have to do. We shouldn't be scared of it. I think you guys are. That's why the mayor acts like she acts. That's why we keep having these situations over and over and over, and it just isn't right. Now, if she's guilty of things, when she goes to court, it'll be dealt with. She ran. But let me tell you something. About half of them in Ward 3 would run at 19. Heck, some of them older than that. Because they run for many reasons. Fear of their life, guilt. I'm going to jail today and I just ain't in the mood for it. So I'm going to try to run. You know, I mean, it's the reality. They run. Okay, so she ran and that was, I'm not condoning any of it. But what I am saying is, once she's caught, the punch, which you won't admit, that's the problem. The choke, which you won't admit, those are the things that make it problematic. We want law enforcement. Well, okay, you trying to serve a warrant. She's done things in her past, but she wasn't doing nothing that day. Not from what I saw. She got out of a car, and she tried. And he started talking about the things she didn't do, and it led to her running. A lot of people run from the police, but they don't deserve to be punched in the face like your policy says it's okay to do, and choked. I'm so angry that you don't get that. You think it's all right for a police officer to punch a young adult, barely, probably just turned 19, in the face and head and the choke and all, and that's just fine with you? And then you write something that says the whole department stands with it. It's not personal. It's not against the guy. It's against the guy for his actions. We ain't trying to list everything he did wrong in his life. So we shouldn't be trying to list everything she did. We need to look at it for what it is and fix what happened that day. That day, she didn't seem to be a public safety risk. The judge signed off on something and said, get her when you can get her. And I think that's what you should have did. Where we crossed the line, and why I think it's aggressive, is because you went to hitting and choking. And that just wasn't necessary. So again, I think you guys need to change your view on this oversight commission, because it's definitely needed. And I think you need to change your attitude of your department if it's truly the policy says it's okay to hit and choke people, because it's not. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Donlin.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. You know, community relations is so important, and we have a community relations director, Ethan Posey. I'd like to hear from him.
Community Relations, Ethan Posey.
Thank you, Director.
Good evening, council. Good evening, everybody. So I'm not a trained police officer, so I'm not necessarily equipped to give you my opinion on training or on the incident. However, in the instance of transparency, I would like to tell you guys some things that we are doing to try and improve police and community engagement and relationships. In May, myself and Commander Barksdale will be going to Dallas for the National Police Community Engagement Conference to see what other police departments and communities and cities are doing across the country, whether it be with training, de-escalation, risk mitigation, to try and bring back some recommendations and some training from outside of not just Springfield, but outside of Illinois, to say, let's look at all of these different options of things that are going on around the country. I think it's important that both Officer Barksdale and I are there, because I do wear two hats of being a black man in Springfield and being a city official. And so a lot of times when I come up here, I have to make sure that I'm not putting on the wrong hat as I'm putting together programs. However, it is my job to listen to the people in the community and try to do things to help address some of these situations. Additionally, on Thursday, I'll be sitting down with Memorial Behavioral Health to try and set up quarterly events throughout the year to bring information for behavioral health in the community and things that you can do outside of calling the police department, getting out information about 988, about mobile crisis response, about the peak times of things that are happening before we roll out the Bolt, before we roll out the Beacon. I know a lot of times when incidents like this happen, if we haven't already gotten out the information, it seems reactionary, what we're trying to do to improve these relationships. But I just wanted to come out and let you know that we have been proactively working toward finding ways to better improve these relationships. Unfortunately, the timing of this incident with the timing of the things that we're working on will make it look more reactionary than it is. Additionally, and finally, for the Police Community Review Commission, next week we will have 2 people on first read who have passed the background check for the PCRC, and there is another individual additionally going through the background check right now as we speak. And once they have passed that background check, they will also be put forward on first read for the Police Community Review Commission. I know that's something that the community has wanted to get done. I know it has taken some time, but it's something else that we've been proactively working toward. Now, does it affect one way or another this situation? No, it does not. Am I in a position to speak on this situation? I don't believe that I am. But I can say that we are proactively working from the Office of Community Relations and the Springfield Police Department and the Mayor's Office to do things to proactively improve these relationships, hopefully before other instances happen in the future.
Thank you. Ethan, anyone? I don't think anybody has any questions. Alderwoman Purchase.
Thank you, Chair. There was one last thing I forgot, and my antennas went up when I was listening to multiple of my colleagues speak. One thing that really frustrates me is when a situation happens, especially in the Black community, we're contacted first, these 3. And it took for Monday for a statement to come out. And I think this happened on Thursday. So I'm asking that within 24 to 48 hours, that something is said. You might not have all the findings. You may not, especially you, Mr. Posey, being the communications, community relations director, to get something out there. Because it puts us in a tough space when people are contacting us as the representatives of our wards and asking us, what do you know? And we're saying, well, we're finding it out when y'all send it to us. So you got to give me a minute to contact leadership and see what's going on and then be able to say something. So I think that that would be really important. It would be transparent, and I think people would appreciate having somewhat of information to say, we understand what's going on, we're looking into it, or this is our findings, this is what we've came up with, we're having a further investigation. I just think something needs to be said, because sometimes when you're quiet and you're silent for a little too long, it gets worse.
Right, and I
don't know if that's your role or that's supposed to be chief role. You
It's
just
not,
up here
but
at the time.
It's something that I would be happy to sit down with the command staff and the mayor's office and any city council members and discuss better ways for us to get that information out and be more transparent. There's never been a time where I've sat down with Chief Beal or anyone in the command staff and they've been in opposition to any ways that we've worked on to improve the relationships, and I'm sure they'd be happy to have those conversations.
Well, I'm just telling you before I'm done, that's my request. I'm asking that something comes out within 24 to 48 hours. Something that took place on a Thursday shouldn't wait till Monday.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Chair, I have a
Thank you.
question. One question for.
Hold on 1 second. Okay, Alderwoman Notrana, because Williams, you off? Are you done?
I was just wondering, Director, the background checks, can you elaborate on that?
I'm not actually sure the extent of the background checks. I know they're extremely extensive for the Police Community Review Commission specifically. They're not the same as what goes on with every other commission, but in order to be appointed to the commission, you do have to pass a background check prior to be putting on first read.
Okay, I don't know that sits super well with me. That we wouldn't be listening to voices of justice-impacted individuals on our Police Review Commission. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderwoman Conley.
Thank you, and I apologize. I don't have much of a, I'm not going to, this is as loud as I can talk. I apologize. So I'm not going to repeat anything. I appreciate the discussion tonight. Just one quick question. Does that mean that the Police Review Commission will have a quorum once we get these people seated?
Yes, it will. So it currently has enough members for a quorum. However, if one member is not present, it does
Right.
not. This will eliminate that issue, and there's going to be another quarterly meeting in May. It was going to be in April, but there was a scheduling conflict for the chair of the board, so it has been moved to May, so that way we can get those first-time commissioners there. Lieutenant Joe Phillips from Internal Affairs will be coming to give an update on investigations and things that are going on. So this should eliminate the problem of not having a quorum, barring some kind of, sickness or incident where multiple members won't be there unexpectedly. Chairman Mark Bell and I communicate pretty frequently and very honestly, so if there's a scheduling conflict, we're usually able to get on top of it. So I feel this will eliminate that issue.
Thank you, and thank you for anticipating my next question about the next meeting. So do you have a date for that yet?
Is it the 21st of May? Yes, the 21st of May
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you,
at
Chair.
7 p.m.
Thank you. Thank you. So I'll finish up. I don't think it's any more, but I'll speak to the Police Review Commission. I had, we've been having some discussions, both things that we can do, Police Review Commission wise from a city council standpoint, and some things that's going to have to be negotiated in the contract. Okay. I think it's really, really important for this review commission, to operate independently. I know that Chief Bill, lets your office handle the Police Review Commission and stuff like that. And we want to develop policies. Like right now, there's some changes in ordinance, right? I've been here before. Police review reform in 2020, George Floyd. We put in some language, young rookie did. But the goal was all complaints went to the Police Review Commission, but we said may instead of shall. So that's one of the things that we have to change, that all complaints go over to that board. Now, those who make that board, you're going to have to be ready to work, right? So we'll probably look at some funding mechanism, making like one of our normal boards and stuff like that, and really do this thing. And another thing that we're looking at is within that is, at times, there's lieutenants called to the scene and stuff, and that information needs to be given to that resident, to that community member, so they know the proper avenues to make sure that those complaints get filed. There's different laws and things like there's a stop receipt law, state law, that every time you stop, you're supposed to get a receipt. We don't do that all the time, but we want to start seeing some of those things. So we're working very, very hard on trying to really make some headway, because a lot of these things that we want to see in policing wise and how we use use of force and de-escalation is going to have to be some things that we're going to have to work out with the union. He's in the back, he's listening, and we're going to have to be asking our mayor to do it. And I will say, last but not least, it's really, really important. Most of us have spoke, but Alderman Carlson, Alderman Rockford, Alderman Cox, I think it's important for your constituents to hear how you feel about this situation that has played out in our community, because ultimately we're going to have to come back and vote on some things to make our community better.
Alderman, if I may, one thing.
Sure.
I would be happy to do is, seeing as how the next PCRC meeting will be on May 21st, and this National Police Community Engagement Conference is literally the weekend following that. It's to get recommendations from the new commissioners and current commissioners, as well as bring back recommendations from this conference. And I'd be happy to sit down with SPD and City Council to say, these are some of the things that we found, and see which suggestions that you like, which recommendations that you like, put together a presentation based on all the information that we've gathered, so that way you guys can make the most informed decision as city council members and voters.
I just think the only problem that I have with that is that whatever recommendations that we get, that it has to be independent. Like there's going to be some things that our police is not going to like, our police department is not going to like, or possibly might like. I don't know. There's going to be some things that the union is not going to like, and we're going to have to get to a happy medium to move the ball forward, if possible. But some of the things that the community wants to see done are not things that we can execute on the city council point, other than passing a resolution asking the mayor to work these things in the next contract. I think that next contract is coming up, and we're going to try to straighten out this board so it's functional and operational, and no one person can stop it. So thank you. Any other conversations? Anyone? All right.
Ready?
Yes, sir.
Robert Williams.
I think he just left.
My boy, Robert.
Louise Hale. Louise Hale.
Louise Hale? Okay. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Here, there, here, there.
Hello. First of all, I just want to let you know that I retired from SIU, and I was the only
Ma'am, pull the microphone down so we can hear you.
I was the only Latino nurse ever employed there for 25 years, and still am. But anyway, this is my problem. I'm having issues with my shared driveway. I have pictures. I have written documents. I have gone through the police, and the police told me like 2 months ago they were going to put some kind of cameras. Never happened. I have gone through senior citizens. I have asked, well, last Sunday it came down to the point where these people are saying we're 27 and we can whoop your whatever. And you know what? I'm 66 and proud of it. And you know what, though? I'm not out to fight nobody. I'm out to fight the world to make it right. And this really bothers me that I can't get somebody to sign off or look at the papers that are legal. I only have 5 minutes.
You all right?
Okay.
You all right?
Here's all I apologize. Here's the rest of it. And this is a paper when I went back to the judge and said my neighbor was not she's renting the home next to me and she was not abiding by the law on the papers there. And the judge told me, and you can read it on there, with all my notebook of papers, she said, if you come back here again, I'll countercharge you and you'll be in trouble. It's on the yellow paper I'm passing around there. So I just want you to know, what do I do? Who protects me?
Yes, ma'am.
Because when the police came over, they just said, well, this is domestic. Well, no, until someone like beats me up or something, I guess. So I need to find out who is there to make those papers legal papers. And I'm right there with you. I wish I could help you guys out with like a Latino voice on your committees because I'm the one that got the union in at SIU.
Yes, ma'am.
So I am a go-getter, but I just help, please. I can't use my ramp. I have to take a wagon out in the street to bring my food up. So if you would just look at that stuff and let me know if you guys can help me.
Yes, ma'am. I will pass along this information to your alderperson, and we will try to help coordinate and see what we can do. Normally, sometimes situations like this between property owner and property owner is a civil situation from my experience, but we will try and do anything we can to come to some type of resolve, okay?
I appreciate that. Those papers, though, are the only ones I have. Can I make copies?
Sure. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. I have them here. Actually, I'm being tardy. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll bring them out to you.
I apologize for interrupting this more important situation going on here.
No, ma'am. You got 5 minutes to speak, and you're fine.
And I just want to say thank you for listening, and I hope something can help me resolve.
No,
So I
thank you.
can have my ramp and a peaceful retirement and die nice.
Yes, ma'am. We got you. We got you.
Robert Williams.
I'd like to address the city council people. My name is Robert Williams. I used to come here every day, every Tuesday religiously. But at that time, when I was coming, I was high all the time. And I'm like, how can I be an example if I'm drunk, high, and everybody, listening to me, but not doing anything about it? Now, I laid there, stopped drinking, stopped smoking, 7 months. And I'm glad, because now I have visions, and I hope that the people that I do surround myself with keep me in a positive view, standing. And I want to state for the record, what is Alderman?
Address the chair, Robert.
No, Miss Conley. She was speaking on something 2 weeks ago
I understand.
about this homeless situation with this abandoned house and a neighbor.
Yes, sir.
Well, my friend, she been stalked for 8 years, and ain't nobody done nothing. You know, she done called the police and everything. They come with the video cam, but they don't take no fingerprints. They ask us, do we see him? We don't see him all the time, but we hear him. We know who he is, and we tell them this. And they still not doing nothing. Well, she got to die? Or what, I got to go out, get out my trick bag, go back to my old ways, and take law in my own hand? You know? This is why I stopped getting high. And because I feel like, you know, the system's supposed to work for you. Y'all talk about this second chance recidivism. Well, hell, I haven't seen nothing. I completed the program, did what the judge asked me to do, and I'm still not getting what I got coming. They said when I got completed the program, they was going to help me get a place to stay. Well, I was staying with a friend who needed my help, and because of me, she's still alive. But every time the police come, all they do, when she asks them to go up to the attic, all they do is take the flashlight and shine it up there. You can't see between these slants. If you don't go up there, you can't see what I see. It's cigarette butts in her house in the attic. Where they come from? It's burnt up paper in her attic. Where it come from? It's fingerprints on a window on the outside of the door. They took pictures of this, but ain't nobody take the fingerprints. I mean, you could literally see the person's fingerprint palm by the window trying to get in, or probably have got in. One day, I have a cat, and she laid there. The police came to the crib. They asked me, is it all right to let your cat out? I said, yeah, she know where she going. You know, she know her way home. And I was laying there washing dishes after they left. My cat meow, so I go to the back door, but it ain't no cat. Go back to doing the dishes. Go to the front. I hear the meow, ain't no cat. So I'm back washing dishes, hear meow again, so I tune in. My cat is in the basement. How the hell you get in the basement? You see what I'm saying? They let you outside. But what I don't understand is that ain't nobody doing nothing. She had a leaky gas leak. They turned her gas off, but the landlord, he didn't do nothing. He didn't turn it back on. He didn't took her money. Now she want to move because he ain't doing nothing, and the police ain't doing nothing. So I'm asking y'all, and this Alderman, Miss Conley, she was speaking on that, about her tenants being afraid of people living next door. Well, I'm not afraid. If I catch him before the police, you can give his soul to God because his ass is mine.
Right.
Simple as that, you know. Because I see y'all ain't doing nothing, you know, and that's real talk, you know. But like I said, I appreciate y'all giving me this time, and I'm going to keep doing what I do. And for the record, I'm single, want to mingle. It's Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve.
Hey, Robert. On a serious note, though, bro, I'm proud of you. Keep that same mindset as far as not drinking and keeping your mind clean. Because hear me out. Because when I seen you and when I walked in the Capitol, man, and I seen you lobbying for yourself and lobbying for others, bro, it was special. And you had a different bounce to you. Keep that bounce, bro. We'll look into, is this address? Yes. Okay. We'll look into the issues and stuff and try to fix them, but keep that bounce, man. All right? All right, bro.
Robert Frazier. Kenneth Pasha.
Man. Beside the bees, I can't keep up.
I know, right?
Hold on.
You good?
Gotta get the time.
Oh, okay.
I want Mr. Page to have
Go ahead.
full 5
Okay, I
minutes.
just didn't want to start going without it. So, I mean, I'm not going to disagree that that's within their standards, what we saw in that video. And I think we already had that conversation when we saw Officer Peters strike that man on the porch a few months ago, if we remember that conversation that we had. And it was a problem then. If that's the lowest level of force, then what are these de-escalation trainings? Look, I worked in retail for years. If I encounter shoplifters that are stealing tens of thousands of dollars, I'm not even allowed to say anything, right? Because of fear of violence, because people like that typically lash out. And while we empower police officers to handle violence, shouldn't we encourage them to avoid that? Shouldn't we encourage that to be the lowest level of force before we move into physicality? Simply running anywhere isn't an excuse to do anything. I mean, we've established that running away from the police could get your life taken away, if we remember someone like Walter Scott. And I thought since that conversation that we would have had better development about techniques about how we restrain people, specifically teenagers. And you can argue with me about it, but it's in the age. It's 19. She's a young woman. You'll hear plenty of people write off promising young folks in different economic situations in different neighborhoods for their behavior and say, well, they're not quite developed. They're still learning. Give them a chance. But this little 19-year-old is apparently a hardened criminal. These felonies warrant real behavior from police officers, like striking her in the face to make sure she doesn't go anywhere. Is that the best we can do for our young people? The ones that we claim are such a problem in other areas in town, related to Sky Zone and things like that, we wonder why we see out-of-control youth. I'll tell you right now, I'm not calling the cops on kids. I know what happens to those kids. I was one of them. I know what happens when you run from police, and I still don't think it's okay. You check my resume. I got beat by an officer when I was 16 in high school for daring to run. So, I mean, it's not like this is new behavior. We've known about this for a very long time. And we have organizations like the Massey Commission that have offered independent review commissions, exterior oversight, which I've brought up here in this council before. It's very clear that they should not be the only ones policing themselves. And I think calling what we see as the Police Civilian Review Commission as a legitimate oversight is a bit of a joke. 4 people may be quorum by technicality, but if one of them gets a cough, they're not meeting. Their last scheduled meeting was January, and now we're waiting until when? May. So that's where we're running into the problem here. How much is happening in those 5 months? How much damage can be done to individuals? How much are we not seeing that's not on video? Because if that's what we see on video, how much worse can it be when no one else is around? What if there's no one there to hop out of the car and make sure the video is there? Those people aren't suspects. Those are concerned citizens. You think that's the worst video of police violence I've seen? I'm from the Rodney King era. It only got worse from there. Let's not act like police violence is a random occurrence. This is something that's been employed on the east side from the Jump Out Boys to back when I was growing up. Like I haven't had the hands put on me and all my friends that I grew up with. And that's an acceptable level of force. But my fear, my worry, the reason I resist, that isn't an acceptable level. But theirs for their safety is. Who is armed? It's not often us. Who's the one who's going to lose their freedom? It's not them. I couldn't afford to lose my freedom sometimes. When I went to jail, I lost my apartment. I'd lose a car. I lost jobs. People still do. Why wouldn't you run? Do you know what it's like? If you don't, I encourage you that maybe the Police Review Commission should have some people that can't clear a background check. Plenty of good people out there that can't clear one. Plenty of good people. There's people who couldn't even get a job on my radio when it was out at CACC because of convictions. You best believe with my station, anybody can get a show. Because that's the community that I live within. And it's all different parts. It's people who made mistakes when they were young. It's people still making mistakes now. And if we're not the kind of place where you're allowed to grow and maybe avoid getting punched in the face because you're a dumb 19-year-old. No offense to Promise. But it's bad behavior, man. But that doesn't mean that she should be rewarded with assault by our law enforcement who is tasked with protecting that community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Robert Collinsworth. Robert Collinsworth. Roy Walton. Roy Walton.
Can y'all hear me? Yes, sir. Okay, I'm going to say like this real quick. I've been coming up here for months and months talking about unprofessionalism, neglect, fraud. I'm asked for a multitude of help. But it wasn't important until it hit home. And I don't blame y'all for that because I know y'all between a rock and a hard place with being political officials and then trying to be community leaders as well. So I commend y'all, the ones that do y'all work, and y'all know who y'all are. But this is the question I got for Chief Bill, and can somebody please have him address it before this meeting is over? Chief Bill, if you were off duty and your daughter was in another county where they did not know your prestige or your importance to the community, and she was handled in that manner, would you still say that was professional? Would you still see those bystanders as suspects or perps? And how would you feel, and what actions would you take in order to have something done about it? Then I want to say this. The reason why y'all can't get no change, it ain't because this or that. It's because hatred is taught. And Chief Bill is teaching his officers hatred. He feels like it's okay. But see, when you ask the kind of questions that I just asked and don't make him respond, he still feels protected. Because I don't have to tell the public that. That's who I am. But if you look at any video, anytime he get questioned, his face turned right red like Rudolph's nose. So are you a redneck, a bigot? Or do you a Nazi, a supremacist? Or do you just hate? Okay. I get it. I apologize, Sean. I apologize because I'm not here to disrupt y'all meeting. But I want to know because this is what the community needs to know. They need to know what type of person they got running their city. Yeah. Who is the real you? What's your real motives? What's your real alternatives? Because if you think it was okay to punch a 19-year-old girl in the face, go get your daughter and bring her up here so I can smack the shit out of her.
No, you can't do that. It's Sean.
Then tell me that's okay. Freedom of speech. Tell me that's okay. We sick of them. It's a thing called conservators of the peace. Once you take that training, you are now a conservator of the peace. He is one. But so are all of you. And you can call for the arrest of him and all his officers like that. Because if I remember correctly, Chief Bill told me he didn't want them kind of officers in his office or under his command. But you want them. We sick of them. Freedom of speech.
Roy.
And we begging and asking and praying for somebody to do something about it before we suffer the consequences for standing up for ourselves. Something need to be done. I've been saying this for I don't know how long. They let old ladies get ran over and don't want to read the reports. They ain't looking at the cameras. When he did his action against Tierra, he altered the videos. He has created so many ordinance violations that he can be placed under arrest. Why not? Why not? He ain't no different than us. He a crook, a criminal, however y'all look at us. He a suspect. He the perp. I wasn't even coming today until they pulled that stunt. Because like I tell them every time I come up here, I know I got it coming because y'all don't like me. I know y'all gonna retaliate, but guess what? I ain't scared of y'all. And somebody need to say it. Y'all know what? I'm gonna get off y'all staring. I'm out of here.
Skylar Willis. Skylar Willis.
Tribal rights, tribal sovereignty. Seriously.
Reyes Moyer.
Thank you.
Before I begin, were you able to get the pictures I sent in?
I don't know.
Yes, I responded.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Is it okay if I speak?
Sure. Yes.
I did respond and let you know to have them printed out, and then I would hand them out.
Okay, I understand. It happens. It was on short notice.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me begin today with a reminder of what excessive force is. Legally, it refers to use of force beyond what a reasonable officer uses to question or apprehend a person. In layman's terms, unnecessary violence a police officer commits is unlawful. That's why our police chief claims vehemently it was necessary. They may be held liable while using excessive force while making an arrest, among other things, but arrest is what's important for today. Now, this is no trial, but in the court of public opinion, everyone gets to be the jury. And that's why I'm here today, to shed light on wrongdoing for the men and women of my community. I believe by the time I'm done, you will at least agree that this deserves some kind of investigation, if not full punitive action. Now, I was able to track down the video a bystander recorded. Your department states she elbowed his body cam and it turned off, conveniently right before he punched her. I have taken the time to gather images so that we can understand exactly what happened. Unfortunately, I was unable to put them together in time, so instead I will now give you a verbal summary of what happened. You see her hand raised, pleading him to stop after he hits her. His hand appears to still be raised. I can only imagine what would have happened if there wasn't a good Samaritan recording this. In the video, you can audibly hear him hit her. How hard did he hit her so that someone in their car recording with their phone could hear it from that far away? Right after the officer hits her in the face, the bystander approaches and exercises their First Amendment rights, which probably saved this poor woman from more harm. However, not just content to simply sit on her torso, the officer leans forward and places his forearm on her neck. You can even see in the subtitles of the video, she is verbally indicating she is not resisting before this. What does our brave boy in blue do? He continues to visit violence upon a defenseless woman, of course. She rolls over so his arm can't be on her neck. You can see him continuing to mount her and push her down. He begins to place her arms behind her back while continuing to put his body weight on her. You can see him forcing her arms together almost above the elbow. Combined with the weight he was putting on her earlier, a stress position such as this one is capable of causing permanent damage. And the way the officer was wiggling around on top of her, I doubt he was taking such a careful approach. We can clearly see that as he actually begins to handcuff her, there's no longer something holding her elbows together. Why didn't he just grab her arm and place the cuffs on one hand and then do the next hand? Why was it necessary to force this poor woman's elbows together and potentially cause permanent damage when you already have her arms behind her back? Even so, there is a particular image of this seared into my mind, as I imagine it has been stuck in other community members' heads as well. The image of a police officer holding a black woman on the ground, fists raised, punching that woman in the face as she begs him not to perform violence upon her. The evidence, I feel, speaks for itself. But let me ask you one simple question. Is punching someone you are arresting and holding on the ground standard operating procedure for the Springfield Police Department? In your statement, you stated he didn't break department policy. Why is punching someone in the face you are holding on the ground department policy? Why is that policy? But that's not all. The Springfield Police Department has a history of excessive force. In addition to Officer Walter here, I'm sure you all remember Sean Grayson. In case you have forgotten, approximately 2 years ago, Grayson shot a black woman, Sonia Massey, in her own home. She called 911 for help, and he shot her 3 times in the face while she was completely unarmed. When his partner said he was getting the trauma kit, Grayson chuckled and said that she was shot in the head so she wouldn't be needing it. Sean Grayson was a bad apple, but seeing this happening now, it makes your entire department look like one bad bunch. At the end of the day, the thing that made Sean Grayson shoot that defenseless woman is the same thing that made this officer attack this woman. They think they can because of white supremacy. I call it how I see it. I call it how I see it. Apparently, your department is okay with hiring officers who have multiple DUIs and have been fired 6 times in 1 year. If you don't like how that sounds, or you don't like me calling your entire apartment one bad bunch, perhaps you should do something about the people who seem to love harming innocent, defenseless black women. Well, how long is it going to take? How many more innocent people have to be hurt simply because you don't care enough to fire or even not hire a white supremacist in the first place? And it wouldn't even matter if she was guilty because everyone deserves the same protections, the same justice under the law. I'm going to close out my argument with a quote from the Bible, Genesis 4, chapter 7. If you do what is right, will you not be accepted? But if you do not do what is right, sin is crouching at your door. It desires to have you, but you must rule over it. Today, that sin is white supremacy. I rest my case.
you. Jordan Shaw.
Good evening. My name is Jordan Shaw, and I'm here mainly as a citizen, although I also volunteer throughout the community, more specifically Intricate Minds, and also as a pro bono notary. I have seen both the body cam footage as well as the bystander footage, not suspect footage, bystander footage, and it is very disgusting to say that I'm not surprised that this is still happening, especially considering the horrific incidents that happened when Sonia Massey was murdered. I'm not surprised that Springfield Police Department has learned nothing and just keeps continue to do what they want to do, especially considering, I'll give Chief Bill this. He said point blank yes when asked if punching somebody in the face was considered protocol. I'll give him that. He was at least honest. I have yet to see them be honest more often than not. So I'll give him that. But that's pretty horrifying that it's procedure to punch somebody in the face, especially considering this is a child, a girl. I honestly thought, before I received confirmation of her age and her name, I legitimately thought she was a minor. And it terrified me. I am so grateful that there were witnesses and that there is bystander footage, because I believe that we're all legitimately thinking, what would have happened if those witnesses weren't there? As awful as what happened to her, it would have been so much worse, and I am actually genuinely concerned, which is why, respectfully, her information is out there, but respectfully, I do not wish to have that out there, because I've seen the comments online, and it's bad. It is really bad, especially to her, and supporting the Officer Walter, who committed this violence and seemed to enjoy committing the violence, because, as the previous speakers have stated before, it is almost systematically in the police department, not just the Springfield Police Department, but all of the police departments. It is raised and just completely goes over and over again with white supremacy. Over and over again, they just keep punishing people who are not white, not men, and just completely, just systematically punishing just because they're different or they have a past. They have a history of not following the rules. I personally don't know each and every quote-unquote offense that this young woman has done, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what your past is. And who's to say if the things that she has been accused of doing are a situation where it is 100% yes, or they were just charges that were put against her. I don't know. But I would hope to say that the whole innocent until proven guilty would be held up. I do hope that eventually the Springfield Police Department, along with other police departments, would eventually respect what the Massey Commission has worked on all this time and look at the 26 calls to action. It's not just an optional list of, oh, maybe we'll do this, maybe we won't. I mean, what's in it for us? We don't have to worry about anything because we keep getting bailed out every time we get in quote-unquote trouble. I hope, although that hope is dwindling, that eventually, someday, they will look within themselves and realize that they can't keep doing these just awful actions to our community. If they actually want our community to be safe, they got to look at themselves first. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Kelly Hurst.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Kelly Hurst. I stand before you as a professor, an advocate, a citizen, and a community member, a mother to many and grandmother to many more. And tonight I am here in the role of the former managing director of the Massey Commission. There is something that we say in both the medical community and the anti-racist community, and it is diagnosis determines treatment. If we misname this problem, then we will misapply the solution. So let's be clear about the diagnosis. This moment did not come out of nowhere. This community has already experienced harm, gathered in grief, and done the work to respond. We didn't just protest, we built. We came together, residents, experts, institutions, and created 26 calls to action designed to ensure dignity, safety, and accountability. The work we delivered was a blueprint, and it remains one today. Not much unlike what Alderperson Notoriano mentioned earlier about a lack of plans. This isn't about a lack of plans. We actually have a plan. And yet, here we are again. A young black girl punched in the face by a police officer. She did not deserve that. There is no version of public safety that makes that acceptable. And when this happens, the question often becomes, but what happened before? But if our diagnosis begins with justification, we will never arrive at accountability because diagnosis determines treatment. And the correct diagnosis here is not confusion. It is not a lack of ideas. It is a failure to implement what is already known. Because when solutions already exist and are not applied, these moments are not isolated. They are predictable and they are preventable. The NAACP has even outlined some principles for police accountability. And yes, there are questions about how those are implemented or measured. But we don't need to wait for perfect principles in order to act, because in this community, we built 26 calls to action. So the question is not what framework to use. The question is, why are the ones we already have not being applied? The county asked this community to do something, and we did. We showed up for a year, over a year. We listened, we learned, and we built something together. We produced and published a report. The patterns of harm were named, the consequences of inaction were made clear, and the next steps were not left undefined. They are the calls to action. And then on January 24th, the city, along with the UIS and the Springfield Coalition on Dismantling Racism, asked this community to show up again. For a community engagement session, framed as listening, framed as building partnership, framed as advancing public health and safety. And again, this community showed up. You brought in facilitators, researchers, and recorders. You said this work mattered. Where is the follow-through or updates to that work? Where is the report? What are the outcomes? What are the next steps? Because when a community shows up in good faith and nothing comes back, that is not engagement, that is extraction. And we have to be honest about what that means, because extraction has a long history in this country. It has asked communities, predominantly black communities, to give their time, their truth, their lived experience, and then denies them any power in return. And what we are seeing here is not disconnected from that history. It is a continuation of it. The May 21st meeting that Mr. Posey mentioned is not even on the website for the city. It's not listed. There's no communication. How would anyone have known that there were even things being done for that? You ask this community to show up, and we do. We come ready to speak, to name what safety looks like, and tell you. We carried that into those rooms on behalf of the public. What has followed has not been clear, so again, we return to this pattern. But the city, by the way, and I understand there are some issues between the city and the county, this city exists within the county. The systems are connected, and the people who are impacted are the same. Harm does not stop at jurisdictional lines, and accountability does not get to be optional because of them. When issues of race arise with great pain, as we've witnessed by a harmed community, discomfort cannot be our reason for disengagement. Choosing not to engage is not neutrality. It is a decision, and the community pays attention to that. Call to Action 13 establishes a coordinated police accountability and transparency framework between the City of Springfield and Sangamon County, with automatic case review, clear timelines for reporting, decertification, public dashboards, and coordinated oversight. This is not abstract, this is actionable, and it is already written. So tonight I'm asking you for three things: a full commitment to implement the calls to action, a public report on the January 24th community engagement session, the establishment of a standing community police accountability structure, because if we continue this pattern, we should not be surprised when rooms like this continue to fill. But it doesn't have to be this way. I invite you to the table. I invite you to help make Springfield a community for everyone. I invite you to meet this community where it is. I invite you to engage with the calls to action and pass motions on them and begin that work. I invite you to sit with the community and ask what these calls look like in real life. Kindly, RSVP.
Thank you.
Michelle Hine Cruz.
Maybelline.
Say that chief stood up here and said he comes here and he does what he does for you guys because you give him budgets. You fund them. All of you. One person voted not to give them a giant weapon. Stop funding them. Stop. Or at least demand more. I don't know. Racism is the #1 problem in this country. It is the very root of violence and poverty. It is the cause. It is the reason that unarmed people of color can be murdered by police and civilians. We live in a country that is founded on the enslavement of black and brown bodies. The system of slavery created systemic racism that is so embedded into American culture, reinforced through city zoning plans, schools, parks, most importantly, the American justice system. Through history, we can see the over-imprisonment and breaking up of black and brown families. Black men going to prison for walking on the wrong side of the sidewalk, using a fountain. Laws such as black codes, which separated black and brown folks from white folks, set forth propaganda that is embedded in the minds of white American today, those police officers. We see it in policing. Police officers still profile black and brown people. Has anything really changed? My son's caretaker, her brother gets talked to every day when he's skating with his friends, walking up and down the block on summer days. He does not have a record. He doesn't do anything. He's a young black man. That's what he does. When racism shows up in policing, how is anyone, especially people of color, supposed to feel safe? I don't, and I'm white, and I'm a woman. When my son's brown mom was driving me to school one night so I could put lesson plans on the desk for a sub, the next day we were pulled over. I was laying down in the passenger seat sick. From the window, you could not really get a good view of me. The officer came over, shined his light directly in her face, spoke to her in such a tone as to say, "Who are you? Are you illegal? What are you doing here?" Oh, I know. I sat up knowing what my whiteness would do. I knew. I used it so I could just say, "Hey, sir, she's just giving me a ride so I can put my lesson plans on my desk." His tone changed completely. Ask me how many times that's happened. Some of you have met my son. You see what a sweet young boy he is. Do you know what a retired state police officer said to him? He put his hat on him, laughed at 1 year old, and said he looks like a little gangbanger, and laughed and thought that was funny. That is disgusting to me. And that man actually somewhat loves my son. Imagine that police officer in the streets and look around. That is the same attitude carrying into policing with these officers. Help me understand how Officer Walters conducted a proper arrest. Help me understand how saying, put your hands behind your back is part of de-escalation. Help me understand why there is no female officer present or at least standing next to him. Something. Help me understand why a 200-pound plus male needs to sit on top of a young woman in such a way that I'm sure every single female in this room felt activated feelings of assault. And finally, help me understand how this body camera so conveniently turns off when he hits her, which you clearly see. Was his explanation just accepted, and I'm supposed to really just accept that? This council needs to stop approving money, weapons, equipment, and mandate all police officers to go to anti-racism training, de-escalation, and crisis management training. There should be no budgetary increases, no more funding. This training needs to be ongoing. Police officers need to understand how their biases show up in their policing. Priorities need to be made clear. De-escalation over physical intervention always. They need to learn how trauma impacts behavior. As a teacher, I can't talk to my students the way he talked to that young woman. My students come from all walks of life. Some carry so much trauma and scars, I don't even know how they get dressed. Students can spit, throw things, hit, all of it. I do not use excessive force. It is never met like that, and if I did, I would be told to leave, or at least be put on investigation. If all of my students have a problem with my teaching, I don't just ignore them and say, well, it's just this way. If I did that, I would perpetuate the us versus them. The mentality and that type of training needs to go. Police officers are supposed to be guardians, yet if one of them showed up at my house unannounced, I wouldn't answer the door. What does that say about our police system? Shouldn't I gladly welcome them into my home? Shouldn't that be the attitude? If your community, the community that you serve, is asking for a meeting, then that meeting needs to be a priority. If your community tells you, hey, your policing is excessive, racist, abused with power, then you need to listen and do something about that. Listen to what your community runs. Listen to what we are asking for.
Valerie Broadwick.
Hi, I'm Valerie Broderick from Chatham. In 2025, I started an organization called the Good Trouble Alliance, dedicated to defending human rights and democracy in Springfield. I stood before you and pleaded for the police department to face accountability for choking and roughing up Tiara Standage at a protest. And here I stand before you again in 2026, because another black woman, a 19-year-old girl, had her airway blocked and was beaten by police. What does that say, Springfield? That's 2 for 2. So far, every year in my organization's existence, 2025 and 2026, I've had to come here and beg the city to pay attention to human rights violations in our community. How many more years will this continue? How many more times will Good Trouble Alliance and other activist organizations have to come before the city council and request that our police force please act like professionals and refrain from beating the people they are supposed to protect? I realize that Miss Davis, the teen who was arrested, had a record. But in a world where Sonia Massey is shot by police in her own home for standing next to a stove because that's called assault, who can believe the police these days when they give a black person a criminal record? The fact that she has been labeled such does not mean she deserves to be punched in the face while pinned to the ground, clearly not posing a threat to Officer Walter. I know a lot of you in the city council want to stand by the men in blue. I get that. I know that you tune out when you hear, some of you, when you hear name calling and slurs, that this makes you cling more tightly to rush to the defense of the police. But I am asking you to look past language and desperate actions and hear the underlying fear behind them. the reality is that just wearing blue isn't enough. Who are the men in blue protecting when they choke and punch us, when they threaten our safety? Wearing blue is not enough. So please, I know that we as citizens are often rough around the edges, but you aren't here to serve only perfect, non-angry citizens, or even only citizens with no criminal record. Our anger is a signal that something is deeply wrong. Help us. We are crying out for help. I know that some of you need to signal your support of the men in blue to get reelected. But consider the blood that is on your hands if this is allowed to continue. When the next Sonia Massey comes around, is that cost of human life, or even just human dignity, worth your reelection? Or will you stand with the community and do the right thing? Protect us. Suspend Officer Walter without pay until a thorough investigation is conducted. Thorough enough to include the footage that conveniently was not recorded by SPD, where Miss Davis is punched in the face. Thorough enough to include a standard of professionalism as high as the Massey Commission has asked the SPD to live up to. We want Springfield to have men in blue that we can get behind too, who have a high standard of excellence beyond following the rules just enough to cover their butts. We want men in blue who care enough to at least question whether a grown man pummeling a teen in the face is good judgment. Men in blue who will actually keep us safe. Please, don't make me come back again next year. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
James Johnson.
Corporation Counsel, can you help me out? We got two members that have to exit on the, as far as calling in, what's the process?
So if they step out, they can call in to the clerk if he has the availability. There'll need to be a motion to accept them to approve remotely. That being said, if the two step out, that'll leave us with 6. So all 6 need to remain for us to continue to have a physical quorum present to continue the meeting.
So do they need to leave the room before we do that, or can we make that motion now?
They need to leave and then call in, and we can make the motion then.
Chair?
Sure. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry?
I'm going to go use the restroom
Oh,
real quickly.
yes.
Before they leave, so we don't.
We might as well take a break.
Give me a 5-minute recess. I'll show you that.
Do I got a second? Thank you.
You don't want to get me started on my feelings about what?
Yeah.
All right. It's an AI-generated response.
You got enough. Larry's coming in.
Yes. Okay. All righty. 1 second. He been gone.
Sorry. Anyone that drops. I've got.
Dan got a call in too.
Is she with you?
Motion.
I need some more water.
No, we're fine. Hello, hello.
You there?
Yes, she was getting her.
Can you hear us?
No, I can call her now.
Hello, hello.
If you don't answer, we're just gonna have to go to one.
Hello, I ain't got no mic. Let's go.
Where's Tim? Hold on. We can't go. You only got 4 people.
5, Keisha's on the phone.
3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, that's right. He's out there. Call him. Shine.
We can't get her to answer.
Alderman Donlin.
Hello.
Can't you guys listen to the same phone? We're having trouble getting Mitriano on the phone.
If we're on, she can't.
We got purchase over here.
Well, then just start. I mean, I don't know where Alderman Carlson might have gone to the bathroom, but we can't reconvene until he's here.
Are we ready, clerk? Is there?
All right. 1 second, Sean. We're almost there.
Just get started.
All right. I'm going to call the meeting back in order. Clerk, can you call the next person? And when they call in, we will allow them in. All right. Motion to allow Alderwoman Purchase.
So moved.
Thank you.
And Mitriano's on.
And Ward 6, Alderwoman Notrano.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded.
Dr. Diane Elshrift.
Thank you.
Hi, I would like to address the city council today. My name is Dr. Deanna El Sharif, and I have an immediate release from the Faith Coalition for the Common Good calls for full transparency and accountability following the community release video of a disturbing incident involving a Springfield police officer on Friday, March 27, 2026. The circulated community video footage appears to show the gross, negligent, and inhumane treatment of a young black woman at the hands of a Springfield police officer. Our community has inhaled wounds from police neglect that are still fresh. To know that yet another black person has succumbed to unjust treatment at the hands of Springfield area police is maddening. To know that the officer involved was designated a tactical patrol officer. The Springfield Police Department describes TPO training as an advanced training that strengthens both officer safety and their accountability to protect our community during critical incidents. SPD Facebook, December 2025. This is appalling. Hard techniques are not low force and do not de-escalate police-involved incidents. We stand in solidarity with the Springfield community in demanding a community meeting with the Springfield Police Department chief, his executive staff, and the president of the police union. Full disclosure of all information and unredacted video footage, including the silent 30 seconds in the beginning of the footage of the full incident by both officers on March 27th. Acknowledgement from the city of Springfield and its elected and appointed officials that gross neglect and inhumane treatment will not be tolerated by the Springfield Police Department. That hard technique is not low force and does not de-escalate police-involved incidents. Public-facing database for misconduct such as falsifying reports, according to the written policies of the police department, just because someone wears a badge does not mean that they're above the law or beyond responsibility for harm. We will continue to hold the city of Springfield to full transparency and accountability for true community healing. While sitting there thinking, I said he was stalking her because he knew she had a warrant. But if he knew he was going to pick her up on a warrant, why didn't he have a female officer with him at that time? He knew. Why did he ask her name when he knew who she was? He could have did it a lot peacefully. Hey, such, you have a warrant for your arrest. I'm going to take you to jail. That's all he had to do. Now, that last part is my personal, but thank you anyway.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, Doctor.
Sante Massey.
Good evening, City Council.
Good evening.
While I am a proponent of good and often firm when needed policing, I am disturbed by the physicality that took place on the video, particularly the moment that was caught by a bystander. What's even more disturbing is that this is a situation that could have escalated into something more deadly. And thank God that it didn't. I know all too well how an interaction between an officer and a civilian can have tragic results. I will echo the sentiment of my peers who have come forward to speak about the escalated tactics of this officer. I certainly don't want to diminish what officers go through every day, but we are dealing specifically with a sharp escalation that resulted in a perceived elbow or fist to a young lady's face and is unacceptable. I cannot be more clear that the fear that I saw in this young lady's eyes is familiar to me, and a stark reminder of how any police officers are perceived in our Black and brown communities, intentional or not. Tonight, I must insist that we gain traction on the calls to action 12 and 13. I will personally call the mayor's office Thursday, April 2nd, to facilitate a conversation and subsequent town hall between members of the city council. And I'm not sure how quorum works and how that will play out on this. The former Massey Commission and soon-to-be new entity, staff and members, the Purple Coalition, the Faith Coalition of the Common Good, and several other community and professional organizations yet to be named in our community and our community members. If we don't take action right now, the dialogue between our elected officials, our policing community, and our citizens will grow and eventually produce another incident. We can ill afford to merely produce statements when the optics of another young Black woman having a newsworthy incident with a police officer has gathered us here again. The time is now to do something to work and fix this. Thank you.
Thank you. Salem King.
Oh, it's going to make me go back to There we are. Call to action number 1. Authorize the installation of a commemorative plaque honoring Sonia Massey and those affected by systemic injustice. Call to action 2. Establish a county-wide interoperable crisis response and dispatch framework. Call to action 3. Establish a pilot program to expand crisis responder qualifications and integrate individuals with lived experiences into behavioral health response systems. Call to action 4. Establish enhanced law enforcement vetting and hiring standards. Call to action 5. Establish countywide psychological evaluation standards for first responders. Call to action 6. Establish countywide standards for in-person anti-racism, de-escalation, and crisis intervention training. Call to action 7. Expand law enforcement recruiting pipelines and require data-driven cluster hiring practices. Call to action 8. Convene a county-wide mental health and public safety coordination summit to address services, capacity, and continuity of care. Call to action 9. Define strategic priorities for the Sangamon County 708 Mental Health Board to advance access, equity, and system coordination. Call to action 10. Urge the Illinois General Assembly to enact qualified immunity reform to strengthen civil rights accountability. Call to action 11. Establish a countywide transparency and accountability dashboard for first responder oversight. Call to action 12. Establish a civilian oversight board of Sangamon County for first responder accountability. Call to action 13. Establish a coordinated police accountability and transparency framework between the City of Springfield and Sangamon County. Call to action 14. Establish the annual People's Scorecard Summit to monitor and report progress on Massey Commission reforms. Call to action 15. Require county-wide health, wellness, and social vulnerability data tracking and public accountability systems. Call to action 16. Establish a county-wide transit equity analysis and mobility access framework. Call to action 17. Require comprehensive equity and accessibility reviews and departmental inclusion plans. Call to action 18. Establish a Sangamon County resources portal to consolidate and expand access to community services. Call to action 19. Establish the Sangamon County Opportunity Access Plan and Equitable Economic Development Framework. Call to action 20. Require the publication of anonymized landing and borrower data to ensure financial transparency and consumer protection. Call to action 21. Prioritize additive job creation, ending corporate incentives, and expanding workforce training for marginalized residents. Call to action 22. Advance equitable housing, community revitalization, and minority contractor capacity across Sangamon County. Call to action 23. Expand preventative and primary care access through an integrated mobile health network and diverse workforce development strategy. Call to action 24. Establish an annual Sangamon County Civil Rights and Accountability Summit. Call to action 25. Support the expansion and countywide replication of school-based peace rooms and social-emotional learning programs. Call to action 26. Urge comprehensive review of the Massey Commission final report and work group findings. A lot of that references the county. The city can do a lot of it too. Alderman Williams mentioned it earlier in tonight's meeting that we need to get serious about doing this. The Massey Commission reports came out months ago. Which of them has been put before this council? I am encouraged by the desire for the community groups to meet with the police. But I've been informed that a recent attempt to discuss with the chief of police the possibility of having community oversight was shot down because They don't want people who aren't professionals to be making rules about police work. And I'll admit, I'm not a law enforcement professional. I've also never punched a woman in the head. So I think their professionalism is no longer a factor of relevance. The community does not just need to meet with the police. The community needs to bring the police to heel. This has gone on long enough, and we need to have meetings between the people on this council and the advocacy organizations within this community to get the Massey commissions implemented into city ordinance. All 26 of them, no exceptions.
Tara Standage.
Tara?
Hello, my name is Tierra Standage. I stand here today as the president of the Purple Coalition, as well as a black woman. I'm always a black woman. I wake up a black woman, I go to sleep a black woman, I was born a black woman, and I'm gonna die a black woman. Today, I brought with me an open letter to Chief Bill. Chief Bill, since you have refused to meet with me personally or with any of the community organizations I am a part of, I am writing this open letter to address my growing concerns regarding your leadership of the Springfield Police Department. You have openly opposed the Massey Commission's calls to action, calls that come as a direct response to the brutal killing of Sonia Massey. Instead of acknowledging the pain and urgency behind those demands, you have attempted to distance yourself by stating that it was not your officers who killed her, as if that absolves your department of accountability despite the multitude of complaints that have been made against SPD. In just the last 2 years alone, there have been videos circulating of your officers strangling, punching, and choking Springfield residents who all happen to be black. Your department is known for pulling over black individuals at a disproportionately higher rate, nearly 60% more than white residents. And yet every time accountability is requested, you double down. You defend the actions. You justify the harm. You stand in support of the very terror that many in our community experience at the hands of your officers, especially on the east side. You have also continuously labeled me as anti-police to the very community that I serve. Let me be clear. I am anti-black harm, anti-poverty exploitation, anti-impunity, and anti-lack of accountability. Challenging systems that harm our people is not anti-police, it is pro-justice. Let's not forget how you filled this very chamber with so-called off-duty officers and what felt like an intimidation tactic to silence me. Let me be clear. I will never be silenced when it comes to speaking up for my people or my community. What happened most recently with the arrest of Ms. Promise Davis is completely unacceptable. Officer Walter punching a 19-year-old girl in the face and restricting her airway, which was on video, we did see it, is completely unacceptable. I lost my place, sorry. It is not only excessive, it is repulsive. Your statement referring to this as the lowest level of force possible is an outright lie. This is a blatant abuse of power. You stated that Officer Walter followed his training and established policy. That is deeply concerning. What kind of policy allows for this level of violence? Why do your policies appear to disable black youth? On September 4th, 2024, Carrington James was shot and paralyzed at the chicken shack. Although body camera footage was released, I have still not seen evidence of him shooting at the police. Upon learning that he was armed, the community fell silent. On January 10th of this year, Dominic Hobbs was shot and paralyzed, and neither his family nor the community has seen the body camera footage. Why? And now we have Ms. Promise Davis being punched in the face like a grown man. What do all these incidents have in common? All involved SPD officers, and each person harmed was a 19-year-old black person. What were you doing at 19? While our youth may not always have the ability to make perfect decisions, we must also acknowledge the lack of investment, resources, and opportunities provided to them. And even when mistakes are made, do they deserve to be brutalized? Do they not deserve to walk? Do they not deserve to breathe? Do they not deserve to live? Chief Bill, Your leadership has widened the already present divide between the Springfield Police Department and the black community. Our community does not want a chief who refuses to engage with us, refuses to attend community town halls, attempts to publicly undermine community leaders, and consistently protects officers who cause harm. At this point, you should seriously consider stepping down and allowing someone to lead who is committed to serving all the members of this community. Because what you have shown us time and time again is that your version of protect and serve does not include us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Amy Rion Jackson. Amy Rion Jackson. Emily Shearer.
Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
I am here out of shame. Shame for myself that it took me so long to speak out, but ultimately I am ashamed every day that this is the city that I live in. A few days ago, Springfield officer Jacob Walters was recorded straddling an unarmed black teenager and punching her in the head. He earned his special designation of tactical patrol officer as recently as 16 weeks ago. This program is designed to prepare officers for unexpected, high-risk, and rapidly evolving situations. You know, like when a black teenager has a warrant out for a retail theft. If Jacob Walters wasn't doing anything wrong, why did he stop beating her when somebody started recording? Why are our police officers held to a lower standard than any other position? Why aren't they embarrassed of that? Why are the women working the front desk at any urgent care clinic held to higher behavioral standards than those who take an oath to be stewards of the public trust? I voted for Mayor Busher. That's something I'm ashamed of. I'd like to remind the mayor that she ran on the platform of transparency, not stonewalling. Busher told us verbatim that she was the most open and transparent candidate and that she will not hide records, policies, procedures from the public. How's the Police Community Review Commission going? Have we gotten those vacancies filled? Remember when everyone from the Urban Forestry Commission resigned because our open and transparent mayor refused to meet with them ever? What about the Massey Commission's calls to action? We've made progress with the Mental Health Board referendum, but how do you plan to implement the other 25? Where are we on establishing actual standards for crisis intervention training? Where are we on the transparency and accountability dashboard? Where's the police accountability framework? How much more national attention does Springfield want to get for our well-documented cruelty towards black people? And again, I ask, why aren't you more ashamed about this? The community of Springfield is demanding change that our law enforcement and city leadership is clearly unable or unwilling to provide. Real leaders don't hide from their public, they serve them. Alderman Hanauer, Carlson, and Donnellan's terms will end in 2027, as will Mayor Busher's. I pressure the community to support new candidates who will not simply use their positions to benefit themselves or their husbands or to platform their repulsive ideologies. Governmental legitimacy and authority comes from the citizens, not from the officials. I urge the community to remember always that the people hold the power. Let's use the shame of this city's past to make the changes needed in 2027 to finally start moving forwards, not backwards. Power to the people, and Black Lives Matter. Thank you.
Reggie Gutton.
Excuse me, I gotta get the giggles out because, you know, if I don't laugh, I'm gonna get mad. The people united must stand to draw a line in the sand, point blank, period, amen and amen. There are 4 or 5 types of crime: violent, organized, white-collar, property crimes, and public order offenses. But crime is more than just doing things against the law. There are reasons why crime exists: poverty, lack of educational or employment opportunities, family instability, and peer influence. But it's not just that. It's not just that, because we don't talk about what crime is when it comes from an organization. We don't talk about crime when it comes from a system of power that is negligent and refuses to acknowledge the people as people and protect them the way that they should. I spent several parts of my days trying to think about how I would address this council and even SPD. And I appreciate Chief Beal being here because, and I'm sorry if I said your name wrong, but you need to hear this. You need to face the public. You need to face the community that you have disenfranchised, belittled, disrespected, and harmed. SPD's Chief Beal himself states that the department is driven by the shared mission of protecting with courage, serving with compassion, and building lasting trust with the people we are sworn to protect. Have you done any of those things? But all you've done as of recently is terrorize the East Side while going on a media PR damage control campaign for the last 5 years at least. In addition, for covering for disgraced Sergeant Mike Egan during a DUI incident, in addition to Officer Charles Peters bashing my face with the riot shield during a peaceful protest in which I was protecting others from harm by the same department, in addition to running a smear campaign against Tierra Standage, a local harm reductionist and activist, in addition to pursuing a high-speed chase that resulted in some East Side residents having their power knocked out for hours, we now see how easily it is for SPD to justify any kind of force against any and everybody. Promise was just the test. You may say that she was detained and she resists arrest, etc., etc., but if you're restrained if a person is on your back, why do you have to hit them while you're down? While they're down? Why is it so easy for you to use nonviolent offenses as an okay for you to be violent against black people? Is it a cultural competency issue? Is it a bias issue? Is it a training issue? Probably not, since SPD was proudly toting about 16 weeks ago that they were proud of this officer, this same officer, completing training. So obviously, whatever is going on, whatever training tactics that are happening, they're not working. They're not working. SPD does not need more surveillance material or any type of vehicle that is not a police car. Spending $400K for a vehicle that resembles a tank is the lowest form of intimidation I could think of from an organization like this. It's not the only form of intimidation, but it's definitely the lowest. The people of Springfield are dealing with real-life issues that are more common than SPD or even city council cares to acknowledge. Decatur just opened a 24-hour daycare center with $400,000. Do you know what something like that could do for the city of Springfield? Do you know what that could do for my people? And it's a damn shame that y'all sit up here and postulate, I'm sorry, it's a damn shame that y'all sit up in here and postulate and say, we'll do all of these things, we'll sign this measure for this plaque, I want to put my name on that. But y'all can't even look out for the people that y'all are here to represent. But as previously pointed out, funding has a funny way of adding power. When it isn't allocated correctly, power can shift, and funding for the disenfranchised inevitably disappears. Y'all got me so hot, I'm twisting over my words right now. The people walked up after the officer struck with the fist. So y'all don't get to use that as an excuse. You don't. You're better than that. We deserve better than that. Don't you dare call us stupid like that ever again. I'm not
address
finished.
here.
I'm not finished.
Address here.
Don't do it.
All I'm saying is, as an organization, as a system, y'all don't get to come up in here and talk to us like we're simpletons. Y'all don't get up here and expect us to be civil when you are committed to disrespecting and misrepresenting us. Point blank, period. I end my time.
Thank you.
Grady Brown.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to speak. And I do appreciate this sea of humanity that's out in support of a sister who human rights was violated. And it's a darn shame. And it frightens me that this council is willing to fund this incompetent ass police chief to allow his boys to freedom of speech. This incompetent police chief who remind me of Joe Mocha. I don't know if y'all cousins or not, but you act like Joe Mocha, the former police chief of St. Louis City, who allowed his damn cops to act like a damn street gang and primarily intimidate the black community. So I feel like I'm in St. Louis all over again. And this mayor, and y'all didn't give a reason why her ass is not here tonight. Excuse me.
Thank you.
Okay.
Address the chair right
I'm
here.
addressing.
All right.
But Miss Mayor, you remind me of a Francis Slade. Sit on your hands.
Address me.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
But she reminds me of former Mayor Francis Slade of St. Louis, sit on her damn hands and do nothing while her police chief make a complete fool of her and himself. And it's a damn shame. You know, it's a damn shame. I mean, and I'm tired of, when police get caught doing inhumane acts towards my people, not being held accountable, but come up with some little hypocrite training, which none of them gonna follow. That's horrifying for this police chief to get his incompetent self up there and say that his officer was doing the right thing by dehumanize a poor, innocent black female. And we seen this time and time again, whether it's Springfield, LA, or New York, or St. Louis. And nothing be done about it. I mean, I know, we're tired. And if it means for the black community to police our damn self, then so be it. Because for years, when y'all been policing us, ain't no damn thing been done. It's gotten worse. So if it means being that, because that's an initiative that's been started in St. Louis that we trying to get on the north side, that we police ourselves. No state, nothing, just us. Because we understand. One brother asked, you asked the question, what do community policing look like? Community policing look like somebody in that community that know that community, that know the people, that ain't living outside the community, getting their damn tax dollars, and when the sun go down, they go back to the lily-ass white side of town. That ain't community policing. And it damn sure ain't, rugged white cops who get their jollies watching black exploitation flicks and feeling like the action is policing the black community. You mean white folks don't commit crime too? You damn lying to me. I know some meth labs in Springfield. Don't say it ain't. Because you are on camera. But, man, this just a shame, and I'm here to help out the community, my brothers and sisters, black, white, green, and yellow, that's willing to stand up to an injustice. I haven't been in Springfield for long, but, man, feel like no different than St. Louis, L.A., or no other city, where black people experience injustices. And if this mayor and this police chief really want to reform your corrupt police department, I suggest you reach out to Brother Brandon Scott of Baltimore. Everybody familiar with the Freddie Gray situation, right?
Yes, sir.
It took Baltimore years to get their police department reformed. And I'm sure they still have issues, but they had a mayor that had, was hands down to say he wasn't going to stand for no corruption in his police department. So he ran the rotten apples away. And for far too long, police have been living off that impunity BS. That's got to go. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Sarah, Al.
The SPD officer created the situation. SPD protocol created the situation. The officer identified her, did not request help. Then SPD claims his fear led him to punch her in the face and restrict her airway. He chose to engage in that arrest alone. He chose to create the situation that led to emergency backup requests, which the city already knows endangers other drivers in the city, and multiple people have stood here talking about that. He chose to remove her dignity and to create trauma for her and Springfield residents. We deserve transparency around SPD trainings, who get that training and who shows up to that in person. What is the national training they are attending? It was brought up by, I forget his name, but it's a national training. And how are you vetting that? Just a couple years ago, they had a whistleblower who showed just how white supremacist those events are. They were all cops. You can look that up and find it. So I am very concerned as a citizen what they are going to bring back with them from that training. Current U.S. police training is done with IDF soldiers. Our police come from slave catchers, and now they're training with occupying and oppressing forces. I don't know why that doesn't concern you. Those tactics are also brought from those national trainings. We need to vet what you're bringing back to our city to oppress our people, our residents. Current SPD anti-racism training is done by a cop. The training is not mandated in-person training. We have a community-led organization like Cyan that has anti-racism training. Why aren't these trainings mandatory in-person trainings? Why are they done by ex-cops? We know the system itself is an issue, but you're going back to the system to find a correction. How does that make sense? Also, one thing that's just a pet peeve in general, why do you expect more from your residents than trained professionals? Why do you classify residents as suspects for practicing their right to record officers? I'm just honestly tired of everything. People, residents, and our community leaders make me proud, but nothing else in this city does. I've been here 8 years. And every part of me wants to leave this city and leave this country because you guys do not care. We watched a genocide on our phones in Palestine, and guess what? The way you treat our residents, I don't see a difference. Everything Tiara Standage said today, I've seen on videos done to Palestinians, and you guys want our cops to go train with the IDF soldiers doing that, and then you're like, oh, wait, why are problems rising? Please do more for us. We have waited, we have tried to be patient. Massey Committee did amazing work for you, and you threw it in the trash, and I can't see it any other way because nothing has happened. Thank you.
Thank you. Vanessa Knox.
I want to first say to Promise Davis, I'm sorry that this happened to you. We're all fighting to make this stop. I hope you never have to endure something like that again. We're all talking about her. There needs to be more to her. This situation is continuing for many years now. Pixie Dust, guys, is not going to fix it. If you don't accept the activists and other people that have given so much time and effort to you, you're going to see things that you don't want to see in this city, that you've seen in big cities. Pressure will bust a pipe. You cannot keep allowing this type of behavior to happen. I don't know why when we talk about racism, so many are offended. You have to call this what it is. When policies are written and followed and on TV to say it's okay to punch people in the face, that is structural racism. It's many things. It's not just a training issue. You cannot keep arguing over how much more money to give for fancy vehicles to help. We need help to make sure that they don't hurt us. Where's the specialized vehicles and things for us? That girl, the terror in her face when I saw that video, she will never, ever, ever forget that a police officer straddled her and punched her in the face. That used to be called sucker punching. That's what you see in alleys when people are going to be robbed and stuff. They come up behind, smack you and punch you in the face real bad. That's not what trained police officers that are not fearing for their lives with an unarmed, probably 120-pound person that they're already sitting on and have their elbow in their throat. If the other people did not show that, come up and be bold enough to take that video, we would have never been able to validate that that happened to her. Think about that. The video that was shown did not have this guy punching this young girl in the face. And what people would have relied on is, she's got records, she's got this and that. A complete disqualification of a human being. But yet people that have lots of money and access to attorneys to make their cases go away, as many officers have had done, you just think of her as just a little ragamuffin running around. It doesn't matter what she has done in the past. It doesn't matter at all. Kind of learned by about 10 years old, you don't punch people in the face like that, especially while somebody is sitting on the person. It was brought to my attention, some were concerned about the issues of training to straddle a woman in the manner that he did. Tamika brought it to my attention. That needs to be looked into as well. The other officer, when he came, didn't seem like it was such a big hurry. He barely put his hand on the person's shoulder. How could that officer, with all of these trainings, not be able to get about 100 and some, probably 110, 120-pound girl handcuffs on him? Why would that be that difficult? She didn't hit him in the face. She wasn't doing all that. She wasn't armed. So it just made no sense with that training. There's no evidence of this high-cost training that they're asking for all the time. Sucker punching people like that doesn't require training. That requires a heart that doesn't value the person you're talking to or being around. That's why burglars and people like that do that. You go out to a vacant lot in the dark, and they come up and sucker punch you real bad. That's a little gang tactic. That's not people that are trained to do that. Some of the research that I have here says, although women are just as likely to encounter police as men, more and more women are experiencing the use of force over time. 28% of people experiencing the threat or use of force by police in 2022 were women, compared to just 13% in 1999. This is going faster and faster and occurring more and more. You must move to do something about this. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Motion to adjourn. It's been moved and seconded to adjourn.